Let's get it. 580 Sports Talk is live and direct on a Monday. We are back from the weekend that was with 3 hours of sports talk this afternoon on the Sports Voice of Kansas, 580 WIBW, FM 104.9, online at 580WIBW.com, and in living color on our video channels, our YouTube channel, 580 Sports Talk, our Facebook page, WIBW News. However you're joining the program today, thanks so much for being a part of the Monday edition of 580 Sports Talk. My name is Dan Lucero, and we will, at a point, have the gang all here today. That's because Brendan Wrzinski is here to start the program today.
Yes, indeedy dandy.
And Spencer Dupuis will be along in a little bit. And then I am going to have to leave at some point during the program today. This will be a throwback to many of you longtime listeners where the host has to leave at 4:30 to pick up a kid from daycare. That should not be unfamiliar to those of you who've listened to the program for a very long time. I had lunch with Jake today, and I told him I was going to make that joke.
Okay, good.
He understood. He knows coming from.
I was gonna say, I hope he doesn't feel slighted by that.
No. But no, I will have to duck out about midway through, but you will hear from all of your regular voices today here on 580 Sports Talk. And no shortage of stuff to talk about. We've got preseason football to break down. The Chiefs lost. Who cares? Bailey Zappi stinks. Oh, my gosh. Never saw that coming. But there was, I thought, a lot more good than bad, especially for the young guys for the Kansas City Chiefs on Saturday night in their preseason opener. We're going to get into that. We'll hear from Andy Reid later on in the program. We'll also, of course, have two great football guests on the show today. Bottom of this hour, 3:35 or so, Matt Verderame of Sports Illustrated and SI.com will join the program. We'll get his first impressions of the Chiefs in the preseason, as well as other thoughts on around the National Football League from our NFL insider, Matt Verderame. Then at 5:25, Mitch Holthus joins us live for another training camp report brought to us by Hy-Vee and Azura Credit Union. Week number 3 of our training camp reports. We'll get Mitch's forecast on what he saw on Saturday night. I'll tell you what, I think he was just settling into his chair and arranging his notes, and he had to get off his first touchdown Kansas City call of the year.
Yeah, that happened in a real quick hurry.
Super fast. It was, again, the game was a loss. Who cares about that? But Chiefs scored right away. And again, I thought there was a lot more for the guys who are going to play. There's a whole lot more good than bad, I thought. So we'll talk about that at length. We'll get Mitch's perspective. We'll get Matt Verderame's perspective. Lots of football to get to on today's show. We are going to get to some baseball as well. 4 and 5 road trips don't hurt you in April and May. But when you're in August and you're chasing, you got to rack up wins, and you're playing a team full of AAA guys, 31-year-olds just getting called up from the minor leagues, you got to find a way to win that series, and the Kansas City Royals did not, losing the rubber game. First time in 11 series they had lost a series finale, but they lost it in extra innings. If you didn't seek it out on the Roku channel yesterday, you missed a doozy, and you missed a whole lot of failure with runners in scoring position. It has continued to doom the Royals all season long, and it doomed them yesterday.
Two things from this weekend. One, and really this is the most notable one. So Ryan Lefevre, I think, does a really good job. I think he's a really good baseball play-by-play guy.
I do too.
You know who doesn't think that? Fans of the Minnesota Twins. This did not make it into my good, bad, and ugly, the reaction to it. But man, if you want to go to your social media of choice and look up what Twins fans thought of the broadcast on Sunday, you are not going to find very many nice things about the TV voice of the Kansas City Royals.
So, you know, he broke in as voice of the Twins, right?
Yeah, he went to the University of Minnesota.
Yes, yeah, he's a Minnesota guy. So I think what happened with Ryan Lefevre yesterday is something that frequently happens with announcers. Sometimes you try too hard to be down the middle, and then you end up not getting excited about anything because you don't want to be perceived as having any favoritism one way or another. Mm-hmm. And I think you're especially keenly aware of that if you're doing a national broadcast and you happen to be the regular broadcast voice of one of the teams involved. So I understand where that criticism is coming from. I also think that Ryan Lefevre did the best he could.
I understand why the Roku games do that. They get local guys, who cover the teams regularly.
Yeah,
to do the
Justin
broadcast.
Morneau was in the booth with him. Obviously, he has no ties to the Royals.
Yeah, I mean, it's guys who know the teams well, who probably live locally, who, Ryan Lefevre was already there. Like, it's going to save you on travel costs. You don't have to pay for someone all season, whatever. I am a firm believer that's a bad product. And it's not Ryan's fault or Morneau or anyone else who does it, but like, you tune into the big SEC game of the week on ABC, you're going to get Fowler and Herbie. You tune into the big game on CBS, you're going to get Vern and Gary, well, Vern's not there anymore, but you know what I mean? Like, you're going to get, for Fox forever, now Monday Night Football, it was Buck and Aikman, and you were going to get those guys. Like him or not, like, that's what it was. I like to know who I'm going to hear as opposed to like, oh, I get cool Prince Fielder and also the John Rooney from the Cardinals are going to call this game. I'm good. Like, no. I'd rather hear national guys.
See, I thought when Peacock had the Sunday leadoff for a couple years, Jason Benetti did the play-by-play, and then the analysts, you had one from the home team and one from the visiting team.
Yeah,
so,
and that's fine.
Yeah,
I'm fine with that.
I thought that worked out really well. But what was the other thing from the weekend aside from...
I got halfway through that one and I forgot what it was. It was about the Royals, but I don't recall what it was.
Here's the thing I do want to talk about with regard to the Royals. Obviously, the 4-5 road trip, it's not good enough at this stage, and they now need a dominant week up ahead at home against teams that they should dominate. The Nationals and the White Sox. They need to dominate these next 6 games. But Ryan Bergert might be a guy, like a capital G guy, that the Royals have found in that trade that sent Freddie Fermin to San Diego. Bergert was already having a good rookie year. He has done some things that have been exceptional in his first 2 starts with the Kansas City Royals. And I won't get too deep into the woods of the physics of it, but there is some suggestion that Ryan Bergert might be a unique talent. And that doesn't automatically mean he's going to be an ace, but I am a lot more convinced in his future as a starting pitcher for the Royals than I was when he was acquired. So we'll talk about Ryan Bergert and his impressive outing yesterday and his impressive first 2 starts in a Royals uniform. Also, all the typical Monday shenanigans on the show. It is not Wednesday. It is absolutely a Monday. We'll get to our 5A Sports Talk headlines. We'll do What Is Wrong With You. I was already working ahead all those W's. That's why I said Wednesday. And we'll do the good, bad, the ugly from the sports weekend that was. Plus, we want to hear from you throughout the show today. Hit us up on the text line, 785-272-9429. That is 785-272-9429 on the text line. You can also interact with us if you are in the live chat on our YouTube channel. 580 Sports Talk is the name of the channel. Why don't you go subscribe to the YouTube channel today? If you have not done that already, go subscribe. We are 19 subscribers away from myself and Brendan arm wrestling on the program. We need to get to 800 subscribers, and then Brendan and I are going to arm wrestle live on camera during the show. We're going to have some fun with that, but we need 19 subscribers. That's 19 more heroes out there. Is today your day to be a hero, to join the ranks of those who are subscribed to the YouTube channel? Doesn't cost you anything but a click, and it gets me closer to beating Brendan in arm wrestling for the entire internet to see. 580 Sports Talk is the name of the channel. Welcome everybody in the chat today. It's great to see you. Vance, Christopher, Joe's in early. Good to see you, Joe. Paul is into the chat today. Mark H. and Andrew jumping in. Appreciate you guys. Look forward to hearing from more of you as we go along and grow that 580 Sports Talk community there in the YouTube chat. We begin with some football. We have a Chiefs game. We have some film to analyze/overanalyze. A preseason game is in the books. The Chiefs jumped out to a 14-3 lead. Then they put Bailey Zappi in the game. And what happened was what usually happens when an NFL team puts Bailey Zappi in the game. Things go bad in a hurry. The Chiefs end up losing the game 20-17. Some late penalties on what would have been a hero drive for Chris Oladokun. I will never forgive Elijah Badger for that personal foul. They should have been at midfield with 2 minutes to go. Terrible penalty. I'll be thinking about it till I die. But the Chiefs lose 20-17 on Saturday.
Heartbreaking.
Devastating.
Really, really heartbreaking.
You have to wonder what this does for their chances of returning to a Super Bowl for a 4th straight year.
I'm going to get to the backup quarterback thing really quickly. I saw a lot of how in the world did Bailey Zappi ever start a game? How was Mac Jones this bad that Bailey Zappi got to do this? I don't know that Bailey Zappi was ever going to make this roster. Like, I get why the Chiefs brought him in, but Mahomes is your starter, obviously. Minshew is obviously your backup. And Matt Derrick made some good points on Twitter and Blue Sky about this with Chris Oladokun. That, yeah, you know, if you ever got in a game, obviously you're SOL. But he is the scout for playing Lamar and for playing Jalen Hurts and for playing running quarterback. That is his job. And the Chiefs value that a lot. You know why? Because you've got to face guys like Lamar Jackson and Josh Allen every year and dudes who can move really, really well. And he's always going to be the third emergency quarterback. I think there's value in keeping him around for that purpose. Minshew ain't going anywhere. Bailey Zappi, I think, was just like hanging out with the boys for a little bit. Like, I think, I'm assuming he rented. I don't think he bought.
Yeah. He was a practice squad guy for him last year, and that would be his only path forward with the Chiefs. But yeah, he was pretty bad. There was a lot more good than bad, though. I want to talk about the good. There was a lot of good on Saturday night as I was watching the game. And the biggest, most important good thing from Saturday night, Josh Simmons is it. Like, Simmons only played 11 snaps. Played with the starters. They took Mahomes out after the first series. Mahomes 1 yard per attempt. Washed. The people are asking. But they took Mahomes out after he threw the touchdown pass to Jason Brownlee on his only actual credited pass attempt of the game. So the number ones had a series with Minshew and then vacated the premises. So we got 11 snaps from Josh Simmons, and I've seen enough. That's an NFL left tackle to me. He was up against Baron Browning, who I think is one of the more underrated edge rushers in the game, and coming off the edge with a lot of speed, and Josh Simmons stonewalled him twice on rushes around the edge. Just absolutely walled up on him, would not let him through. I saw what I needed to see from Josh Simmons to feel very good about left tackle for 2025 and beyond in his hands.
I mean, I said this the other day on the show, but here's what you need out of Josh Simmons this year. Is he better than what you had at left tackle last year? I'm not asking for to quantify how much better. I'm just saying, is he better than that? And if the answer is yes, great. You're golden. You're set. You're done. The competition is over. It is what it is. I'm not worried about it at this point. I guess I don't really know the re-injury risk with a patellar tendon, and I mean, look, Ohio State's got good doctors, man. I know they were taking care of him when he first had the injury against Oregon this past year. Obviously, the Chiefs are going to make sure he is 100% healthy and ready to go. But look, man, he went out there. He did his thing with the ones. They didn't have any problems with him, and I can't imagine anything at this point dissuading the Chiefs from thinking we've got our guy bare minimum for this year. And ideally, he goes out and has a great season, and it's, you know, your guy until 2036. But one way or the other, that's not a competition. That's over. That's done with. And I think we'll get to this a little bit later on. I think 4 of your 5 linemen are done. I think it's all set at this point. I think your tackles are done. I think your center is done. I think your right guard is done. I don't know that I would put left guard in pen. I might put it in pencil. I'm a mechanical pencil guy. Okay. I might put it in pencil.
Okay.
There was one, I don't know if I'd put it in pen.
There was one very bad rep for Kingsley Suamataia. There was some good stuff, particularly against the run. I think that's where you have to look at. Suamataia, I think, is going to be better on the run, in the run game, than he is pass block.
I agree.
You're just going to have to accept that is probably going to be what it is for the 2025 season, for that first go-round with Suamataia. I didn't put him in my good or my bad category, but he did have one real bad rep. And everybody who watched the game knows which one I'm talking about.
And that's glaring when you only play a dozen snaps.
Yeah, no, that's real true. Yeah, when you only play that small sample size, if you have a bad rep, it does. It tends to stand out in that way.
Probably worth noting, and Jesse Newell posted this today from Chiefs camp, they were doing a team session at one point where Mike Caliendo came in after 4 plays, which he said was the quickest that they have made a switch. And then the next team period, I believe it was 6 plays, and Caliendo came in. So, interesting. I am noticing.
Probably suggests that Caliendo put some good stuff on film as much as it suggests
good
anything
point
about Suamataia. Simmons was not the only rookie who impressed me on Saturday night. Jeffrey Bassa was everywhere. He had that short yardage stop. It was a 3rd and 1, and Bassa came on a middle blitz, got through the line, knocked off his feet, recovered, and ankle tackled the running back before he got to the line of scrimmage. Also had a quarterback hit on another middle blitz. Very impressed with Jeffrey Bassa. That looks like a young man who can really play. I don't know what his opportunities are going to look like at linebacker this year. He's pretty clearly no higher than 5th on that depth chart.
Mm-hmm.
Jack Cochran's 4th behind the 3 starters. But he looks like he plays with his hair on fire, played with a lot of speed. And when you're playing fast, that means you're playing confidently. So that suggests to me he's really absorbing what it is that he's being asked to do. So I thought Jeffrey Bassa was impressive. I thought Ashton Gelati won a lot of his reps. He was not a guy that put up a bunch of stats, but he was in the backfield. His get-off was impressive. He pressured the quarterback, had the quarterback moving outside the pocket a couple of times. I thought Gelati played really well. I thought Noel Williams, we saw his physicality, not just on the coverage game, but also tackling in the backfield, had a big tackle for a loss. So really nice showing for the rookies. If I didn't mention, like, I thought Omar Norman Lott, like, he didn't put anything on film that, like, jumped out, but also he wasn't, like, ending up 3 yards downfield and on his backside on every play either. I thought he held his own. I thought he was fine. If he's been dealing with an ankle injury, maybe he's not quite at 100% right now. That's understandable. They threw the ball to Jalen Royals a couple of times in some bad spots. They didn't really give him a chance. He did have the one nice catch over the middle. Forget if it was Minshew or I think it was Zappe was in the game, and he got blasted on a 3rd down, and Royals made the catch over the middle. That was kind of reminiscent to like a Rashee Rice or a Travis Kelce. Find the spot, get to the spot, make sure I'm here for my quarterback, make the catch, move the sticks. So really, I mean, those were the guys I was most interested to watch by and large for the rookies, and I thought a lot of them put some really good stuff out there.
Isn't it interesting how similar Gelati's game is to Karlaftis? I mean, it's not a perfect comparison, but I mean, it's green apples to red apples. Like it's pretty close. You can see why Spags wanted a guy like that. It makes a lot of sense there. No, I thought he was impressive. I thought the Robert Tonyan thing was pretty funny.
He looks spry.
Like, we have heard he's had a great camp.
He looks like a guy who maybe got a year off from having to get hit last year and looked like there's a little bit more juice in the legs.
Well, and okay, that's to me more so even than, absorbing all those hits, which pile up, especially on a tight end. I like Big Bob. Never been much of a blocker. No one's going to confuse him with Mercedes Lewis, his former teammate. But I think getting off his feet a little bit more, because it's been leg injuries that have really derailed his career. I mean, there was one season, I think it was the 2020 campaign in Green Bay, where it looked like, this might be the next big weapon at tight end. And unfortunately, the injuries have kind of piled up. But look, man, does any team love an oft-injured 4th tight end more than the Kansas City Chiefs? I can't name one. How many chances did my guy Jody Fortson get?
He did. I don't think
40 of them, I think.
I think there's one thing wrong with that. I think he's pretty clearly TE3. I think he's ahead of Wiley and anybody else
probably
in that room right now. And quarterbacks trusted him, got him the ball. He led the team in targets and receiving on Saturday. A couple of other guys I want to point to. Chris Roland Wallace, I think, should make the 53.
I agree with you. I'm with you.
Good things happen around him.
Praised by Reed as well.
Yep. Had the interception, had the fumble recovery on the opening kickoff. Just seems to be right place, right time kind of player, like his versatility, like his ability on special teams. I would put Chris Roland Wallace on the 53-man roster. Jason Brownlee is going to make a case because he showed catching the touchdown pass from Patrick Mahomes. What have we always said about Mahomes? The one thing he's never gotten to play with, a big outside receiver. Like, I'm not saying Jason Brownlee is like prime DeAndre Hopkins.
He had that. D-Hop had that one sweet game last year and then just disappeared.
But like at 6'3", that is a size and a potential skill set that nobody else really bringing to the table in that Chiefs receiver room. So he's going to be a guy who's going to make Andy Reid have to think if he's going to put that kind of stuff out there.
Yeah, I mean the wide receiver room stuff. I saw someone post on Twitter after the game, and man, this Chiefs wide receiver room. Look at all these guys who are definitely making the roster and listed 8 guys. And I thought, brother, they ain't keeping 8 wide receivers. No one's doing that.
Not how it works.
This ain't 2016 Big 12 football, man. Not that many guys are going to catch passes on this team. But practice squad candidate. I mean, he might be playing himself into kind of an Amir Smith-Marset situation. Remember his great preseason a couple years ago? I was the Chiefs who kept under return kicks, but he ended up getting signed, I think, by Carolina's active roster.
Yeah,
that can't happen.
He got a job. He put enough good film out there to get a job. It just wasn't with the Chiefs. So.
And I mean, Brownlee's been on a roster before. He was rostered by the Jets the last couple of years. So he's auditioning for the Chiefs as much as, any other team in the NFL right now. But yeah, I mean, it was good to see. That was a beautiful throw and an even better catch.
Yeah, I liked seeing that.
Great adjustment.
Liked seeing that in the red zone from the Chiefs. And Brownlee made the play there. I believe this is the first time we have discussed Jason Brownlee at any length during the entirety of Chiefs training camp. So that was the good. Couple guys I wanted to point to that I'm a little worried about after one game. Nazeeh Johnson gave up the touchdown. Bad penalty on a deep ball.
Nazeeh, brother, if you're on social media, I would turn off my phone right now because they are beating your ass online.
There's no reason he should be on the 53 over Chris Roland Wallace. Like, if it's down to those two, it's an easy call for me.
I mean, it sounds, from what Matt told us last week, I mean, it sounds like it's him or Williams. And, man, I get it that Josh Williams ain't a perfect player, but you're talking about man number 53 out of 53 at this point. No one's perfect. You can't play Johnson on defense. I get that he can play special teams well, but you need to be able to cover someone. Like, the Chiefs are going to rely a bunch on Christian Fulton this year. I loved that move. I love his game. He had a great year with the Chargers. He is always hurt. He's just now getting back to team practice. Like, you need playable depth at corner if you are the Chiefs. I'm not asking for prime Darrelle Revis, another former Chief, to be, not in his prime, to be, in the reserves here. But you need someone who, hey, look, man, it's 3rd and 8. You got to go cover. Go win us a rep against the third receiver. Like, I'd trust Josh Williams or Chris Roland Wallace to do that more than Johnson.
Yeah, I think I would too at this stage. Two other guys. Rashard Smith didn't get any first half snaps.
Yeah.
I dealing with a finger injury, so I was wanted to limit his exposure a little bit, but kind of hoping we would see more from him.
Yeah, with some better linemen in front of him.
Yeah, I was hoping to see more from Rashard Smith, like more on the field, not just necessarily more production. Last guy I need to point to, man, it is year 3.
Oh, it sucks.
And Felix Anudike-Uzomah is still not dominating against second and third team guys. And you need to be doing that pretty regularly if you were a first round pick. And if that's who you're getting your reps against, and primarily that's who Felix is getting his reps against right now, is second and third team guys, you should be kicking their ass. And he's not. And that's a problem.
No, he is not.
It's pretty clear he's fallen behind Gelati, which means he's defensive end number 5, which means like they're not going to cut him. He's a first round pick, but getting late early for Felix. You could tell by how he was deployed on Saturday that he's not doing enough in practice to earn more of an opportunity. And you saw him not do really a whole lot of anything to earn more opportunities with his game time.
So yeah, you're looking at Karlaftis, who's an Iron Man, Dana, Omenahu, Gelati, and it's probably worth noting that on obvious passing downs, Spags is not afraid to kick Chris Jones to the outside.
Yeah.
That's not a lot of playing time. And look,
and Gelati was a lot better. Like, it wasn't a little bit, it was a lot.
And I don't want to overreact to one preseason game. We're going to get to that in a minute in Good, Bad, and Ugly. I don't want to overreact to these things. But with Felix, it has been, this is a data point. This is not an instant reaction. Like, this is not, oh my God, Shedeur Sanders. What were teams thinking not drafting him to the 5th round? That's nuts. But this is like, hey, man, you're in year 3. We've seen you in 3 preseasons now. We've seen you in regular seasons and postseasons, and it's just not there. I saw a K-State fan hypothesize, like, what if Deuce and Felix had stayed one more year? Like, how good would that team have been? I don't think either of them would have gained anything by going back.
No.
Like,
running back especially, but it was time for Felix to go. He's the defensive lineman of the year in the Big 12.
Yeah, and unless he was going to completely reinvent himself and put on 30 pounds in 1 year at K-State, there was nothing more for him to do. He was the defensive not just lineman, defensive player of the year in the conference.
Yeah, it's not coming together like they'd hoped, certainly. I think that's pretty clear right now for Felix. We'll have much more to say about the Chiefs preseason opener later on in the show. Matt Verderame, our NFL insider, is going to join us about 10 minutes. But first, we'll take our first break and come back with the good, the bad, the ugly from the sports weekend that was. And we're just getting started on this Monday on 580 Sports Talk. Fly through a round of the good, the bad, the ugly from the weekend that was. I'll start with my good. Jaguars kicker Cam Little made a 70-yard field goal. I would have sooner believed it if you told me a UFO had landed at midfield of an NFL game than I would have believed somebody would make a 70-yard field goal. It's like Usain Bolt running the 100 in under 9.8. Preposterous.
And not even in Denver.
And
or the Dome.
At sea level, and it would have been good from 75.
Yeah.
What are we dealing with here?
Problem is that there's no, it doesn't matter. It doesn't count.
Oh, it counts.
I mean, it counts in their score for the preseason game, but it doesn't count as a record because it's not a regular season.
Until he does it next.
We all saw it, is all I'm saying. You're good, Brendan.
My good is that I took my daughter to the pool for the first time. She loved it.
Awesome.
Hated the beach earlier this summer. Loved the pool.
Do swimming lessons for her next summer.
Yes. I believe we were making plans on our drive back from Kansas City. About
definitely.
My wife asked, told me, please ask Dan where they did Asher swimming lessons. And I believe I already know the answer.
Yes, so. We can do that off the air if you need. Spencer, you're good.
Noah Cameron. We already know he's legit, but he had another good game on Saturday. Also, got me a box combo on Saturday.
There we go.
Had that Raising Canes.
My bad. John Rave just needs to field that ball from Austin Martin on a hop in the 8th inning yesterday, and the Royals probably win that game. I don't think they're going to get 3 singles off of Lucas Erceg, even if he hasn't been as dominant as usual. But turning that single into a triple, that cost him a run when Ryan Jeffers singled with 2 outs. and a game ended up going to extra innings. I think they win if Ray plays that ball normally. He made a real mess of it.
My bad is that RJ Young of Fox Sports did his personal ranking of all 136 FBS teams, and he put Arizona in the top 40 in the country. He had Arizona in the top half of the Big 12. Buddy, what?
Did he mean Arizona State? Did he get him confused?
No, because he had Arizona State higher.
Wild. He must be.
He had them 8th in the conference.
Spencer,
they might finish last.
Spencer, you're bad.
Yeah, it's the Royals in very close games in the 7th, 8th, and 9th. It just seems like when they're leading in very close games, it just happens to be the day where Lucas Erceg or Carlos Estevez are just off a little bit, and they give up a run or two, and that run ends
Estevez leads the American League in saves. It was just a bad weekend.
That's what
bad Sunday.
What I'm saying is, whenever this happens, it just seems to be the day. Like his ERA is so low, he just gives up like 1 or 2 runs, and it happens to be the bad end for the Royals.
My ugly NASCAR driver Connor Zilish tripping and falling off the hood of his car or the top of his car in Victory Lane after the Xfinity Series race on Saturday, knocking himself out and breaking his collarbone so he couldn't race on Sunday. That was terrifying, stomach turning to watch it happen.
My ugly is I don't think I've ever seen worse reaction to the preseason. Like, we do this every year, and somehow this year is worse.
You mean you're not fitting Shadur Sanders for a gold jacket in Canton yet?
No, because I'm not Justina Anderson.
Yours ugly, Spencer.
Yeah, I turned on my Commanders. I knew it wasn't going to be a pleasant game. I turned them off within 5 minutes.
Matt Verderame joins us next for our NFL Insider on 580 Sports Talk. In a moment, we'll be joined by our NFL insider, Matt Verderame, who joins us every Monday on the Fleming Place Wine and Spirits Hotline. Matt writes for Sports Illustrated, SI.com. Also, part of the KC Sports Network's family of podcasts. The show is called That Football Show. Also has its own Patreon, the Matt Verderame Show. Lots of Chiefs-centric content there. You can find him on social media at Matt Verderame, and we are out to him and hope to be connected with him very shortly. Outside of the Chiefs, how much preseason football did you watch? Well, check that. We'll get to that. Hold that thought. We are now joined on the Fleming Place Wine and Spirits Hotline by Matt Verderame. Matt, we'll ask you, how much preseason football would you say that you watched, you consumed over the weekend?
About a couple of games worth. I mean, like it's so hard to sit there and be really invested in the fourth quarter of Chargers Saints, right? I mean, I know it's it is my job, but it is also, let's also be real about this. I'm a human being, and that is that's tough watch. That's tough watch.
I respect it. The Chiefs lost their preseason opener to the Cardinals on Saturday night. What was the one thing you were most impressed with, pleased by, encouraged by from that Chiefs performance?
I think for the most part, the rookies, I thought Simmons, what he played 11 snaps, and it wasn't exactly a ton. I thought he played well. I thought he played really well. He didn't get beat on any snaps. I thought he was in the places he needed to be. He was beating guys in spots. So I thought Simmons did a nice job. I thought Jalad did well. He had 4 tackles. He was all over the place. I thought, kind of the rookie that gets forgotten is Vasquez. I thought was one of the best players on the field for them, honestly. Now, granted, he's not going against the first stringers. He's going against second and third, and you got to factor that in. But I always find it intriguing when a guy's playing against backups and he is playing vastly superior to everybody else out there. That tells me that guy's a starting level type player. And so I found it just very, very interesting how well he played so early on. And I'm very curious to see how he plays in Seattle.
Other than the Chiefs game, looking at the rest of the weekend in NFL preseason action, was there something to you that stood out as particularly noteworthy from a positive standpoint? Like not from an overreaction standpoint, but something that occurred first week of the preseason where you felt like, all right, that player or that team's got to feel really, really good about what transpired.
I don't think there's anything that can happen in week 1 of the preseason that all of a sudden you go, man, that's just lock that in and put it in pen. But I thought Jackson Dart played pretty well for the Giants. I really did. Look, again, it is week 1 of the preseason. The Bills are not game planning for him. They could care less. But I thought just from a talent standpoint, making all the throws, looking like he was on time, I was impressed. Now, he's not going to start. It's going to be Russell Wilson. But, hey, I'm from New York. And I can tell you right now, if Russell Wilson's 0-2 and he's not playing well, people are going to be going nuts to put Jackson Dart in there. And you also have a coaching staff and a GM that knows that if this thing goes sideways and they're 4-13 this year, they're all fired. So, I was paying close attention to Dart for all those reasons, and I thought he played pretty well. I'd be interested to see if he can back that up and play even better this weekend.
Matt Verderame is our guest. He joins us every Monday here on 580 Sports Talk via the Fleming Place Wine and Spirits Hotline. As we go around to the NFL, you can check out Matt's great work at SI and SI.com. You can also, of course, find his work at the Matt Verderame Show on Patreon and that football show on the KC Sports Network. So after this weekend, Matt, what are you thinking? Are we going to wait 5 years to put Shedeur Sanders in the Hall of Fame, or are you already getting him fitted for his gold jacket? Because, look, man, against vanilla number 2 defenses, I think we probably saw the future of the NFL this weekend. At least that's what the internet wants me to believe.
Yes. I think might as well just put him in yesterday. He threw for 6 yards in an attempt. And we've got to act like he threw for 12 yards in an attempt against the 85 Bears. He was fine. I mean, I went back, I watched all of his plays, watched his throws. He made a couple. His touchdown throw was nice. A lot of touch on that one. On the flip side, I thought, if we're being honest, he had a ball that should have clearly been picked across the middle of the field, and the receiver did a nice job to break it up. But he was fine. He frankly looked like a mid-round pick. I always thought he should have been drafted higher in the 5th round. I don't think he should have been a top pick. But I thought, if we're being fair, he had some stuff he could build off. And on the flip side, was it overwhelming? Did I watch that game and say, "Oh my God, the Browns, what a shit"? No, I mean, I thought he was good enough that it's worth monitoring how he plays moving forward. But if his name is not Shedeur Sanders and that was Dylan Gabriel, nobody cares. Nobody's walking away from that game going, "Oh my goodness, what a steal!" So he was fine, but that's how I would term it. He was fine.
Remember when Cody Kessler had a great preseason his rookie year? What's Cody Kessler up to these days? Anywho, outside of that, were there any things, kind of the opposite of Dan's question from a few moments ago, were there any storylines, any performances, individual or team, that really got you worried about, oh, shoot, this might go south in a hurry?
I mean, there's only one, quite honestly, because, again, I'm not going to overreact one way or the other with a lot of this stuff in week one of the preseason, but the Bengals defense was an atrocity. I mean, that was so bad. You go back and watch the tape of that. There are holes in the running game for Philadelphia. I'm legitimately are 10 yards wide. I mean, they are just you could drive a tractor trailer through them. And I mean, this is a team that look. You know it's bad when every comment on Twitter is about whether or not Tanner McKee is worth a second round pick. I mean, this is like. That's how bad Cincinnati's first team defense was against an Eagles team that played nothing but second stringers. That couldn't have cared any less. That was just out there getting reps. Meanwhile, the Bengals are playing the whole first team defense, trying to get something going, and give 24 first half points. I mean, the Bengals, I think we all feel like are an interesting team from the standpoint they're going to score a lot. Well, they better, because I think we're looking at a lot of games that are going to be 35-30, and they are going to have to score and score and score. That defense is an abomination.
Can you imagine a transaction wire piece of news more depressing than Titans waive Tim Boyle, Titans sign Trevor Siemian? Can you think of anything more depressing than those sentences?
That is the old deck chairs on the Titanic. Listen, there's an old line that I cannot repeat on live radio. Tom Moore, who used to coach for the Colts when Peyton Manning was there. And Moore was asked, why don't you ever give the second stringer more reps? Why don't you work him into the practice more? And he said, because if 18 goes down, we're blank, and we don't practice blank. And I think, look, if Trevor Siemian or Tim Boyle's coming in for you, you're that word. Let's be real.
Poor Jim Sorgi never got his chance with those Colts teams. I don't think I've actually asked you this, Matt. What are your opinions on Cam Ward? I mean, I liked him. It was not a very good quarterback draft overall. I liked him. I think he probably would have gone like 4th or 5th among the quarterbacks in last year's class. I think there's a lot to like about him, but it's the Titans, and a lot of people forget the Tennessee Titans even exist. What are some of your early thoughts on what Cam Ward can be as a rookie for that team?
Listen, I think early returns are a little bit inconsistent, but that's fine. They're going to be, right? I mean, I think, look, he's going to, have his struggles. I think he's going to get better as the year goes on, like most rookies do. That's a team that, listen, there's been a lot of change. Now, the offensive line should be better. They brought in Zeitler, who's older, but still a very good guard. They have Cushenberry, who they paid a lot of money to at center. They went out, they got Jones, not Jones, but Dan Moore. Dan Moore on the left side, they paid him $80 million. Like, in theory, the line should be decent, and then you're throwing a Ridley and you turn around, hands off to Pollard. But I think it's going to be a work in progress. I mean, this is not a very talented team. Callahan is a very respected offensive coach in the league. Him being there will certainly help. But it's a work in progress. I like Warren. I really do. I think his skill set's excellent. But it's a team that is not exactly set up to be really successful.
Couple more questions for Matt Verderame of Sports Illustrated, SI.com, our NFL insider here on 580 Sports Talk. Matt, Rashawn Slater's out for the season. Ruptured patella tendon in practice just days after he signed a 4-year, $113 million contract extension. Obviously, devastating for the player. How much does that hurt the Chargers and what they want to do this season?
Oh, I listen. I would argue he's the best player on the team. I mean, he's not the most important. Herbert is, of course. I think he's the most important. I think he's the best player on the football team. I mean, that you not only lose him, now you have to put Alt at left tackle that he moves. You put Pipkins at right tackle. Well, Pipkins is not anywhere near the quality of a Slater. I mean, this is it's a big loss. Just look at week 1, for example, when they play Kansas City, right? Like, the Chiefs let them put Chris Jones outside on 3rd down. Well, guess what? Before, he was going against Slater or Alt. Right? And the Chargers were always going to be able to say, okay, we can one-on-one block and feel like we can maybe handle it. You can imagine where Chris Jones is going to be lining up. It's going to be him and Trey Pipkins. And now all of a sudden, you either have to get the ball out quicker or you got to keep a guy in. And that's a team that they can't afford that. They don't have the weapons. And they have McConkey and nobody else in this passing game. I mean, if you believe in Keenan Allen, fine, but there's a reason he's available in August. Like, this is just a team that, quite honestly, I'm not as high in the Chargers as some. I wasn't even before the Slater injury. I look at the Chargers now and say, man, that is such a big loss. You're not going to be able to run as effectively. You're not going to be able to hold the ball as long. You're going to have to hold guys in and block more. It's a lot. It's a crushing injury.
Last one for you, Matt. Which one gets resolved first? Because I have a feeling that both of these things are going to get resolved at some point. But which of these situations, ongoing situations, is resolved first? Trey Hendrickson with the Bengals or Micah Parsons with the Cowboys?
I'll say Parsons, because I just believe, look, Jerry loves Jerry and he loves his headlines. He's going to end up paying him a fortune. Like, if history says anything, Jerry's going to make him the highest paid defensive player of all time. Cincinnati has a history of just saying, look, we'll wait it out. I mean, they were waiting it out with Jamar Chase last year. They sat there. Why is it going to be different all of a sudden? So I'll say Parsons.
There's not a doubt that Parsons is going to get paid. He's going to reset the market. Like, this is what the Cowboys do. They string it along and they play it for headlines or clicks or whatever you want to say, and then they pay their guy. But you got to believe it's to the point now, if it hasn't already been to that point, if it didn't get to that point when this was Dak Prescott it was happening to, that it's got to have a negative effect on the locker room at this point, right?
Yeah, he's the best player on the team, and he's a homegrown star. And he's been in no trouble off the field. He's been nothing but a professional and a great player in his 4 years in Dallas. And if you're in that locker room, you're looking around going, man, they're not going to pay that guy. What? They're not going to pay me. They're not paying him. They're not paying me. And if they're not paying me, then why am I going to go out here and fight through an injury or give that extra effort? Because I'm just waiting to get out of here. I mean, that stuff has an effect. When you don't pay guys who are homegrown, guys looking around the room and go, well, all right, great. If he's not getting paid, then I'm screwed.
Matt Verderame covers the National Football League for Sports Illustrated and SI.com. You can also catch him on That Football Show on the KC Sports Network and subscribe to his Patreon, The Matt Verderame Show. You can catch him every Monday right here, right now on 580 Sports Talk. Matt, it's always a pleasure. We'll do it again next week.
Thanks a lot, guys. Take care.
That is Matt Verderame. We will step aside for a timeout. We'll come back and wrap up this 3 o'clock hour. 580 Sports Talk next. 3:55 at 580 Sports Talker. Thanks again to Matt Verderame for joining us. Mitch Holthus, the training camp report at 5:25 later on today. It is 25 days until the Kansas City Chiefs open the 2025 regular season against the Los Angeles Chargers in Brazil, which means we continue our countdown to Chiefs kickoff with number 25 for the Chiefs, Elijah Mitchell, who carried the ball 3 times on Saturday night and was fine. Like, I certainly didn't see a great deal of burst or explosion, but I also didn't see that he had a lot of space to operate in. So I'm not going to write off Elijah Mitchell's chances of making the roster. It was fine, but is fine going to be good enough to secure a roster spot at running back, given that the Chiefs don't appear to have the third down back of Andy Reid's dreams on their roster right now?
I would rather just keep Rashard Smith and not even roster Elijah Mitchell. I think he'll be rostered, but what is he giving you?
They didn't give him so much money that they
gave him nothing.
Like $2.5 million, something like that.
Was it even that much?
Couch cushion money, like nothing significant against the cap. So yeah, it would not be anything real costly for the Chiefs to just kind of walk away from him. That would not surprise me if they chose to do that, because yeah, that's a guy that if you're between him and a rookie, a guy that you draft and want to develop to keep on the 53, and then you add another running back who's that third down guy once cut downs happen, and you find this year's version of Samaje Perine, that would seem to make a lot of sense to me.
You were right. 2.5 million, 1.3 was guaranteed. I don't know. I mean,
nothing.
You need to take some swings in the running game because it was so not explosive. I don't think inexplosive is a word. It was so not explosive last year. And I get the idea with Mitchell, but
sure.
I don't know.
Yeah, if it's not there, it's not there.
Yeah.
And reports.
But that's also the kind of guy that, hey, we need a roster spot midseason. Sorry. If Smith becomes useful, I would imagine Mitchell's one of the first to go.
Hey, I've got some tickets this week. There is a big show coming to T-Mobile Center on Thursday night, August 14th, the Jim Bob World Tour. Hardy, Co Wetzel, and Steven Wilson Jr. I got a pair of tickets for that show that I'm going to give away to caller number 3 to 785-272-9429. 785-272-9429. Caller number 3 are going to see Hardy at the T-Mobile Center on Thursday night. We'll give you a pair of tickets. Coming to the 4 o'clock hour, more Chiefs preseason reaction, plus the Royals weekend and what is wrong with you on 580 Sports Talk. Let's get it. Hour number 2 of 580 Sports Talk on this Monday. So great to have you along. Dan, Brendan, Spencer. Gang's all here for like 30 more minutes, and then I got to go pick up my kid. But the gang's all here for right now, and that's really great. And we're glad you're here on the Sports Voice of Kansas, 580 WIBW FM 104.9, online at 580WIBW.com. And, of course, on our YouTube channel, 580 Sports Talk, and our Facebook page, WIBW News. We are 19 YouTube subscribers, or at least we're, when we went on the air today, 19 subscribers away from you and I arm wrestling.
Hell yeah.
We're getting close.
Hell yeah, brother.
We've had some requests for some hype videos.
Oh, yeah.
Like, like some remember HBO used to do those like 24/7.
Oh yeah,
like,
of course.
Yeah, you go
of course.
training with like Manny Pacquiao before he fought Mayweather and all
Love
that.
it.
Yeah,
Awesome.
A little 24/7.
Love it.
Brzezinski versus Lucero, the arm wrestling brawl to end it all.
Once in a lifetime.
So that's coming up, and
The brawl for all.
you can get us closer if you are not a subscriber yet to our YouTube channel. Go subscribe. 580 Sports Talk is the name of the channel. And if you are watching the show on YouTube today or any day, hop in the live chat. We'd love to hear from you. Text line is open. 785-272-9429 is that number. Still to come on the show, we're going to hear from Andy Reid, who spoke to the media earlier today from Chiefs camp. Also hear from Nick Bolton, the middle linebacker for the Chiefs, who also had some brief remarks today. Mitch Holthus is going to join us at 5:25 today for another training camp report brought to us by Hy-Vee and Azura Credit Union. We'll get Mitch's firsthand account of the Chiefs preseason opener against the Cardinals. We got some baseball to get to, sports headlines, what is wrong with you, the usual stuff. We got a full final 2 hours. We'll hand it off at 6 o'clock to the Royals Baseball Network as the Royals open a homestand tonight, first of 3, against the Fighting Dupuises of the nation's capital. The Washington Nationals are in town for 3.
Yeah, you got to win this series, man.
Yeah.
They got to
It would behoove them to sweep it, to be honest. They are no worse, the Royals, in the standings as far as how many games back they are. They are no worse than they were when they started the weekend. They didn't lose any ground, losing 2 out of 3 to Minnesota. But you are getting to the point of the year where you got to start gaining some ground. You're gonna run out of road. You're gonna run out of runway at some point, and that some point is sooner rather than later. So yes, it would behoove the Royals. One bit of good news for the Royals: there was some concern about Bobby Witt Jr.'s availability for tonight. He didn't play yesterday. Been dealing with a bit of a stiff back, but past whatever battery of tests the Royals threw at him today, he is in the lineup, batting second at shortstop today. So Bobby Witt Jr. will be back in the Royals lineup, and they need him because what it looked like without him yesterday in the Twin Cities was 1 for 15 with runners in scoring position and 15 runners left on base. And that was gross. And that was why the Royals lost a very winnable baseball game. Apparently, Luke Keeschel is Roy Hobbs. Didn't realize that. Would have gone a little easier on him and the rest of the Twins if I'd known that Luke Keeschel was, the natural. He hits the 2-run walk-off home run that delivered the victory in extra innings as the Royals failed to score not once but twice with the free man on base in extra innings. And you deserve to lose when you do that. And the Royals ultimately did.
Delicious name, though. I could go for a Keeschel right now.
Oh, yeah? Eggs, ham.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
You ever have the little mini ones? Like you can buy them at like a Costco or Sam's Club.
Oh, yeah.
Mini ones.
Yeah.
Very good. Wonderful little like a New Year's Day like brunch kind of item there.
I don't love egg as its own thing. It's fine. I would prefer some sort of breakfast or hors d'oeuvre that is less egg heavy. I don't love a quiche.
I made eggs Saturday morning.
I'll eat scrambled eggs. That's fine.
I scrambled some eggs. My Asher's a little bit under the weather over the weekend, dealing with a little cold, a little congestion.
Yeah.
So, eggs got zinc in them, right? So, something good to have.
Sure.
Yeah. When you're not feeling up to par.
I've never seen the
scrambled eggs
zinc.
for the
I've
family.
only ever seen the baby bird kind.
Oh, really? It's interesting. What were we talking about? Baseball?
This is one of those. Are you sure we have to talk about this?
Yeah, the Royals lost yesterday, and it was because they went 1 for 15 with runner scoring position, and that makes me want to puke. Not all of that was like bad process. Like first inning, they had Jose Urena on the ropes, and they did end up scoring 1 in the first inning on Adam Frazier's 2-out single, but that could have been a huge inning.
Yeah.
Vinny Pasquantino just happened to hit a seed right at the first baseman while he was standing next to the base, which allowed him to double off Michael Garcia. There's an element of bad luck to it. There were some elements of bad luck, frankly, to Saturday, why they didn't score more than 2 runs. They've hit some balls hard at people. That happens. They're putting the ball in play. It's not like they're striking out a ton. They're putting the ball in play enough. You expect that the results are going to even out. It's why the Royals have had better offensive success since the All-Star break, by and large.
Yeah.
But it did not happen for them yesterday. They were fortunate on Saturday to win after Seth Lugo got bombed on Friday. So Seth Lugo has not been particularly good in the 3 starts since he signed his 2-year contract extension. And that is true. And that is certainly worth noting. But what this is, 2 things are happening here. Number one, he just might not like the dog days. Because if you remember last year, July, August, he wasn't very good last year.
No, he was not.
July and August had some rough starts like that. The other thing this is, though, just like it was last year, it's a little regression to the mean. Seth Lugo has pitched much more like a pitcher with an ERA in the mid-3s than a pitcher with the ERA in the 2s this year, based on strikeout numbers, home run numbers, walk numbers. In fact, his fielding independent ERA is in the mid-4s. So that would suggest, even with an ERA now sitting at 3.46 over his 22 starts, that Lugo has still been more lucky than good this year.
And look, I think one thing that is important, because I think, fielding independent compared to fielding independent relative to ERA is very important because, you get the what is defense versus what you control and all of that. I think it is also important to note, though, like you can pitch differently when you've got a good defense and an elite defense and stuff like that. That does matter and does have an impact as well. So I think it's worth at least including that you don't need to have like truly elite fielding independent numbers all the time if you're Lugo, given the way he pitches.
Yeah.
That being said, I'm looking at StatCast data right now from Baseball Savant, and there are 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. I don't really care about extension. There are 11 categories under pitching on Baseball Savant that you can qualify for, that they get this from StatCast, expected ERA, fastball velocity, whiff percentage, all of that. How many do you think he is above average in, above 50th percentile in this year?
I'm going to say not many. It wouldn't be strikeouts, it wouldn't be whiffs, it certainly wouldn't be velocity, it wouldn't be walks, it wouldn't be home runs.
So yeah, it's expected ERA, expected batting average, fastball velo, exit velo. How often do guys chase? Whiff percentage, strikeout and walk percentage. How often do they barrel it? Hard hit percentage, ground ball percentage. He is above the 50th percentile in exactly 0 categories.
Yeah.
Not a single one. That is alarming. That's what we often refer to as the underlying metrics. That like, hey, you might strike out a bunch of guys, but if you got really lucky because you made like some really nice pitches on, you just were on the black constantly all game and got a favorable strike zone, then that's one thing. But if you are talking about, like regularly game to game, that's probably not going to work out in your favor.
No,
not quite how it works.
No. He could always finish strong and have an uptick in some of those numbers. He certainly finished strong mid to late August and September of last season. He's been a slow starter. He's been really good in like May and June, some wobbles in July and August last year, really good down the stretch, August, September. If he follows that path again, like he's a slightly above average major league starter, and the Royals paid going market rate for that. I'm not ready to call the extension a mistake or anything like that, but he's in a bad spot right now, and going up against Joe Ryan, the margin for error was very small, and he did not meet the margin for error in that particular outing. So series got off to a bad start. Royals clawed one back on Saturday, but couldn't finish the job on Sunday. I blame John Rave's misplay in the 8th inning. I thought if the Royals could have gotten out of that frame with the score at 3-2, they probably win the game. And John Ray played a single into a triple, just an inexcusable play. Big leaguer shouldn't be making that play. Should know better.
Agreed.
Than on that play. And then the Royals end up losing it in the 11th. I don't want this to all be negative because, like, we'll do like the anti-compliment sandwich because we'll get back to like why this weekend was not particularly promising for the Royals. But I want to talk about the good thing from this weekend. Ryan Bergert might be good. And we've seen 2 starts now for Bergert since coming over from San Diego in the Freddie Fermin deal. 11 1/3 innings, 4 runs allowed on 6 hits, one of them a home run, 3 walks to 10 strikeouts. And there is a really interesting article at Fangraphs today. And the title of the article is, "In at least one respect, Ryan Bergert looks like an ace." If you are watching on YouTube, I'm going to throw the link to the article into the chat. If you would like to read it, it is in the live chat now on our YouTube channel, 580 Sports Talk. Again, it's over at Fangraphs. Now today, Michael Rosen wrote the article. And it's pretty numbers heavy. Like, I would recite it all back to you, but it's stuff you get lost in the weeds on.
Mhm.
But what you need to know about what Ryan Bergert can do, and we talked about this when he was acquired, Ryan Bergert can spin the baseball. Well, why is that valuable? Spin makes your fastball look like it has rise on it. They call it carry.
Mhm.
Doesn't really jump out of your hand, but the spin makes it look like it's got like real ride to it. And
Right.
that's why you can beat hitters at the top of the zone. I think it is noteworthy that Ryan Bergert is on a top 10 list of the most carry on a fastball of any pitcher in baseball. He's on a top 10 list. And another pitcher who's on that top 10 list is tonight's Royals starting pitcher, Bailey Falter. So that feels like it's something the Royals are looking at and saying, hey, if we got a pitcher who has a lot of carry, a lot of spin on their fastball, that's something we feel like we want to work with.
Right.
That's a trait we feel like we can exploit, get the best out of the guy. So that's one thing that Ryan Bergert does. The other thing Ryan Bergert does, you spin the ball, you should throw a good breaking ball, right? Well, Bergert has one of the smallest differences in baseball between his fastball velocity and his sweeper velocity among guys who spin the ball the way that he does. You know who else is on this top 10 list? Chris Bubich.
Oh.
So again, Royals see something here. Royals see like a template that they feel like they can work with. So the sweeper is his primary breaking ball. And the thing that he's done really well in his first 2 starts is located on the back door to left-handed hitters. He's a right-hander. The back door would be the outside corner to left-handed hitters. Typically, you want to be careful if you're throwing breaking pitches to the opposite hand, because if those float out over the plate, hitter gets a good look at that and they can do some real damage. But if you're spotting it on the outside corner, you're getting a lot of called strikes. That can make your fastball play up because you're getting ahead in counts. It could also potentially give him a weapon with his changeup. He didn't have much of a changeup with the Padres. He threw his changeup really effectively, got a strikeout, swinging his strikeout on a changeup yesterday. So what I'm seeing from Bergert in his first 2 Royals starts are some components that the Royals, A, I think clearly sought out in acquiring this particular pitcher, B, have had success working with this sort of, within this sort of framework, within this sort of skill set, and C, we're already seeing some positive results where he looks like a guy, when they acquired him, I looked at his profile, looked at, kind of what he had done in his career, and I thought, that's probably a reliever. Fastball, breaking ball, fastball velocity is not elite. Maybe it'll play up out of the bullpen. Same with the sweeper. And this looks like maybe a bullpen arm, maybe a swing guy long term. I think what they've done in his first 2 starts and what he's shown the adaptability to do in his first 2 starts suggests to me that this could be a guy who is in the rotation moving forward. They can really start to take seriously as a long-term starting pitcher. And again, they don't have a lot of guys who fit the mold of long-term starting pitcher with a lot of team control left. Like it's basically, Reagan's for a few years, Bubich for 1, Lugo and Waka as the veterans under contract, Noah Cameron for the next 6 years after this. And Ryan Bergert now starting to look like an intriguing piece and more good work being done in a short amount of time by this Royals pitching staff.
Yeah, and that's what you needed to do at the deadline, is to set yourself up. We've talked about this before, but you needed to set yourself up for the future and for 2026. And hey, we can be good enough now to make a run or make a push. Anyway, I don't even say run, make a push for the playoffs. But let's put ourselves in a spot for 2026 where hopefully our ace is healthy the entire year. We've still got prime Bobby Witt Jr. We're probably on the back end with Salvador Perez. Maybe we can make some other moves, get another bat in here, and we'll be good to go. That's what you had to do with this deadline. And I think the Royals did a pretty good job, all things considered, of threading that needle.
So,
and if you get a guy, even if Bergert's a 3rd or 4th starter, like, you know what you need? every 5 days, your third starter.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, you're not going to hit on every trade piece you get. Obviously, Bailey Falter hasn't been the best.
We've only seen one start.
Yeah. I mean, they still got team control.
But let's at least give him 2 before we start saying definitive things about him like we are about Ryan Bergert right now. Come on.
That's not. Well,
I'm saving all of mine.
What I was saying, you don't hit on everybody, but he's also has years of control left as well, so he can get better.
Yeah.
It's not one, once the rest of the season doesn't define who Bailey Falter is to the Royals.
I'm only interested right now
you are
in doing
correct
an
about that.
immediate glowing reaction to one athlete, and that's Shedeur Sanders.
Yes. Yeah, that's the only guy we're doing any overreactions to. It'll be Falter's second start with the Royals tonight. It can't go worse than his first. I'll be interested to see how he does against a at home against a Washington lineup that has been in a bit of a funk since the All-Star break. And
I don't know. They scored 8 runs yesterday.
8 runs. But I'm just judging by the fact that I've got both James Wood and CJ Abrams on my fantasy team. Those guys haven't done squat since the break, other than this weekend.
Well, I think the home run derby messed up James Wood's swing.
I'm a believer in that. There is so much data to prove that's not real. I will always believe it.
There will be
Forever.
time. There will be time enough, gentlemen. I promise, for Nationals talk and a series preview. We will get to that a little bit later on the show. Closing thoughts about this Royals series. Like we said earlier, you go 4-5 on this road trip. The top 2 teams in the East and a divisional rival. You go 4-5 on that road trip. It's not a calamity, right? It's not. And if it happens in April and May, you say, man, a couple of breaks that could have been 5-4, 6-3, but all right. Like, that's a tough road trip. It's a long road trip. It's the 2 best teams in the Eastern Division and a division rival that you know really well and that has always played you tough. Okay, you live with 4-5.
Mm-hmm.
When you got 100 games left, you can do that. The Royals don't have 100 games left. They have 44 games left.
Right.
And so it becomes a bit more problematic, especially with Detroit trying to come back to the pack in the Central. Their division lead was down to 5 going into yesterday.
Yeah.
They won and Cleveland lost, so it's back to 6. But that looked insurmountable at one point, and now it is 6 games.
It is surmountable.
Yes. Cleveland, though, they aren't going to get to play like Colorado and the White Sox every week the rest of the season. Like, I still think that is likely to go in the wrong direction more so than it is to continue on this trend. But the Royals still find themselves 4 games behind New York for the final wild card spot, trailing Texas by 1.5 games, trailing Cleveland by 3.5, and trailing New York by 4 games in the American League wild card chase. One other thing, I got to point this. We have talked about this when it has happened, but Vance points at it again. And I almost forgot this happened before Vance pointed it out in the YouTube comments. Thank you, Vance, as always. It still blows my mind, Vance writes, when I see inane base running errors. What in God's name is Maikel Garcia doing getting picked off at second base? Like, what is that?
That was so bad.
Yeah.
This guy, and look, everything else this year has gone right for Maikel Garcia, right? He made the All-Star team. His average is back up over 300. He had 3 hits yesterday. Swinging a good bat, doubles power. He got picked off of second base. I believe he was he the leadoff man? And he got picked off at second base that inning? Yes. He was the leadoff man in the 5th, and the Royals are trailing at that point, and he draws a walk, and he steals second. Delayed steal. Good play. Good heads-up play for a guy who last year was the Royals' best base stealer, including Bobby Witt Jr.
Mm-hmm.
And then before another pitch could be thrown, Pearson Ole picks him off of second base because Maikel Garcia just takes a walking 20-foot lead. Like, what are you doing? What did you think was going to happen? And these things keep happening. John Raves missed playing the outfield. It's another thing. Keep hammering on this. This is not a good enough team to make those kinds of mistakes over and over again and survive them. And they keep happening.
It's a feature, not a bug for this team. I mean, they do not pay attention to those little things. And I don't
understand because I really felt last year like they were a pretty good attention to detail team. And
I thought so too.
And I don't know why that has slipped this year. Or maybe it's just slipped in ways that have been more ruthlessly exploited by their opponents this season. I don't know.
Over the course of the year, at this point, I bet you that's cost them at least a couple of games.
Absolutely it has.
Yeah.
I would say that the base running in particular is why they're on the wrong side of 500.
Probably.
Like, if you could narrow it down to one thing, like, could they be 60-58 right now if they ran the bases like not a U10 youth team? Yes, I bet they could. It does. Drives me crazy. I got just I had forgotten that happened, and Vance reminded me, and it made my blood boil all over again. I hate bad fundamental baseball, and too much of it on display from the Royals. We'll take our time out here on 580 Sports Talk. Come back with our first round of What Is Wrong With You for this new week on 580 WIBW. It's What Is Wrong With You time on 580 Sports Talk. We got a new week of What Is Wrong With You, which means we have two new stories competing. And Brendan, it's been a minute since you've had a What Is Wrong With You story, so I'm going to give you honors. You go first today.
Well, thank you. We're going to meet 29-year-old Autumn Bardisa from Florida, who between July of 2023 and this year had provided medical care as a nurse to more than 4,400 patients in Flagler County, Florida. That's pretty great. First responder, our medical personnel really appreciate that. Here's the problem. She's not a licensed nurse.
Oh, no.
Yep, we've
That is
got
a
a medical
problem.
fraud story, ladies and gentlemen.
Why is it always Florida for medical fraud stories?
We are back. A Florida woman was arrested after authorities say she posed as a licensed nurse to provide care to those more than 4,000 people, despite never holding a valid license. The 29-year-old was arrested following a 7-month investigation in coordination with Advent Health Palm Coast Parkway, the Florida Department of Health, and the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services. She was hired back in July of 2023, and during the hiring process, Bardisa claimed that she had completed the educational requirements to be an RN and later falsely asserted that she had passed her national licensing exam. She provided a license number belonging to a different RN with her same first name and claimed she had changed her last name due to marriage, but never actually produced a marriage certificate as requested.
That's a pretty good lie. I'm not going to lie to you. Decent lie.
No, I agree. The deception unraveled because she was too good at her job. In January, she was being considered for a promotion. And according to the sheriff's office, a colleague checked her credentials and discovered her only certification was an expired CNA license.
She was really in it for the love of the game.
Hospital admin launched an internal review and terminated her on January 22nd after she failed to verify her identity. Her case was then referred to law enforcement. She provided medical care to 4,486 patients while impersonating a licensed nurse. She She also had used personal ID information from a former nursing school classmate who worked as a nurse at a different Advent Health location, but they had no personal relationship. An arrest warrant was issued last Tuesday for 7 counts of practicing a healthcare profession without a license and another 7 of fraudulent use of personal identification. She's being held on $70,000 bond.
Her only crime, other than the fraud, was being too competent.
Yeah, lay low. Be good, but not that good, apparently.
Yeah, like leave hang a stitch or something. I don't know. Do what you got to do.
I love a good
avoid detection.
I love a good fraud story. I really love a good medical fraud story.
I think every single one of them in the history of the show has been in Florida.
Shoot, we had a guy named the Ultimate Florida Man who was doing that stuff.
Out of his practicing like dentistry. Yeah, something like that. For my story, we go to Greenville County, South Carolina. I'm going to start with a quote from County Sheriff Hobart Lewis. I want to be very clear. This incident should have never happened. What's the incident? There was a training exercise in which 2 deputies were shot and injured. They used the wrong ammo.
Uh-oh.
By which I mean they used ammo.
Uh-oh.
Not blank. Nope. July 29th, Greenville County SWAT units were training in a vacant building. And 2 deputies were struck by a round. One was struck in the groin area, resulting in a severed artery.
No!
And the other was struck under his arm. One of the deputies required emergency surgery. I have a guess at which. Both are expected, thankfully, to make a full recovery. According to the sheriffs, while preparing for a scenario, a deputy was tasked with getting blank 12-gauge shotgun rounds. The deputy acquired a baggie of breaching rounds, which are normally used to break through windows or doors. The deputies thought they were blanks. They were not. These were breaching rounds. Jeez. They took them to go test them, but they fired them too far away to determine whether or not they were actually blanks.
Jeez.
When the scenario began, another deputy playing the role of an armed individual fired one of the breaching rounds at deputies and hit 2 of them. Lewis said the deputies realized they were bleeding and the scenario immediately ended and both deputies were taken to the hospital for treatment. The sheriff's office launched an investigation into the accident. Lewis said changes are being implemented to prevent another incident from happening again.
Notably,
I don't know, right on the baggie, real blank.
Yeah. Here's the change. You 2 can't do this ever again.
Yeah, you 2 deputies.
You're on desk duty.
You get one of the wooden guns from the other guys.
Oh, man. That's a good one.
Here's a whistle. If you see somebody doing a crime, just blow it really loud. That's what you get now.
That movie had its 15th anniversary the other day.
One of my absolute all-time favorite movies.
That's a good one.
Aim for the bushes.
Ooh, man, these are both good. I'm going to go with my story here because I can't remember a story where someone got caught for being too good at their fraud.
That is a really funny story. I'm going to vote for mine because, dude, how do you, not check to see? You grab the blanks, right? Yeah. How sure are you? Any less than 100%? Not going to work for me.
I love that they botched the test to see if they were blanks or not. That is the very funny detail.
Spencer, you break the tie. What is it?
So this is real hard because if you're just a run-of-the-mill person at your job, then you're not up for a raise or up for a promotion. So you don't have any licensure to be in this position, but you're really good at it.
Should have just gotten the license.
Yeah, right? I don't what is wrong with you for not getting the license? Come on. So that's going to be my choice because I think if you could just be a run of the mill at it.
Yeah.
But she's too good at her job that she's wanted that they were going to give her a promotion, meaning, oh, just kidding. We got to look into your credentials.
So nurse fraud is going to be our first winner this week on What Is Wrong With You. We will take a timeout. When we come back, I will not be coming back. I am out. I am done for the day. Brendan and Spencer have you the rest of the way. You're going to hear from Andy Reid. You're going to hear from Nick Bolton. You're going to hear some more reaction to the Chiefs preseason opener from Saturday. And Mitch Holthus is coming up at 5:25. Still a lot of great stuff left in the back half of this edition of 580 Sports Talk.
437 on 580 Sports Talk. Brendan Dworzinski and Spencer Dupuis here with you for the rest of the show. Dan is out. He'll be back tomorrow. Plenty to get to on tomorrow's show. Some Jayhawk Weekly, some more Chiefs. Of course, Mitch Holthus. We'll be joined by Mitch later on in this show, just about 48 minutes from right now or so. We'll talk to Mitch, talking wide receivers today in particular. But let's hear from some of the folks who participated in the Chiefs preseason opener, shall we? We'll hear from Nick Bolton in just a moment. But let's start things off with Andy Reid. Spencer, I also want to get your thoughts on the Chiefs preseason opener here in just a moment. But let's start with Andy Reid. A couple of interesting notes from him coming out of the preseason opener against the Cardinals. We get ready for another one coming up here this weekend. Without further ado, here is Big Red.
All right. As far as the injuries go here, Brady Stool did not practice today. Hollywood didn't practice. Deion Bush had a Achilles tendon rupture. We'll get that fixed. Driscoll had the appendectomy. He got it fixed, so we're doing good there. Janarius Robinson ended up having a foot fracture right on his little toe there. And then Jalen Watson had a concussion. Other than that, everybody got out there and moved around. So we had a 10-10-10 practice today, working some situational things, and it was good work. As far as the game goes, very similar to what I mentioned to you after the game, that too many mistakes. As far as penalties go, you have 108 yards of penalty. That's, like I mentioned, a good rushing day for a running back. You can't have that. You can't go backwards on the offensive side, and you can't allow them to move forward on the defensive side. So we've got to clean that up. Within that, there were some good individual efforts with some of the young guys. It was good to see them practice. It was good to see that the young guys on the left side of the line do their thing. A couple of defensive players, young guys I thought did well. Williams jumped out with some big physical plays on special teams and on the defensive side, and so anyway. But I thought the young guys collectively did a nice job. So with that, time's yours.
Andy, you mentioned left side of the line. Just after you watched Kingsley over again, what you think of his performance?
I thought he did a good job. He both he and Simmons, I thought, worked well together. They didn't have a ton of snaps, but what they had, I thought they did well with.
Coach, sticking on the offensive line, we noticed Mike Caliando working with the ones at left guard, center, and right guard. What are you hoping to see out of him before the camp wraps up?
Yeah, I thought Mike actually played well in the game too, but I would expect that. We look at him like he's a starter, so which he did last year. He got great experience last year, so we have pure confidence that he could step in and play either of those positions that you mentioned there.
Coach, you mentioned some of those penalties in the game. How do you kind of address that here at camp and at practice?
Yeah, you just have to detail your work. You have to focus in on the game plan, know where you're at, and then understand the snap counts, and you have to up your attention span there so that you get those covered.
Andy, how did you see the end of the receiver room? That's roster spots for that. How do you see that competition shaking out right now?
Yeah, listen, we'll have a tough decision to make, Brett, Will, and the coaches. So there's some good players there. And we'll just see how it sorts out here. We got a couple more games, a few more practices, so we'll see how it all sorts out before we have to make those cuts. But listen, I'm pleased with what we have there, and some of the young guys and how they're going out here and producing. So.
Coach, with Hollywood, what's kind of the state of that ankle? Did he end up having a high ankle sprain, or is it something?
Yeah, it's not really high ankle sprain. It's more ankle foot area. He's making great progress, so he's up and he's running now a little bit. So that's a positive. I don't think he's too far out, but we'll see. Yeah, he's doing good. Yeah.
Coach, can you talk about what Robert Conyon's bringing to the table? He had such a good game.
Yeah, Robert did. He did some good things. There's some things he's got to work on. He's a veteran guy. He knows that more in the run game than probably the pass game. But I thought he caught the ball well. He had some big catches, and then he had the one drop he'd like to have back, but he'll figure that one out and get it taken care of. But this guy's been productive in the league, so he gets it. And He's been banged up a little bit, and he's been able to keep himself healthy and on the field, which has been probably the issue over the last couple of years. Yeah.
Thanks, Coach.
All right, thanks.
That's Andy Reid speaking earlier today at Chiefs camp. I love the way he phrased some of those injury notes. Yeah, Deion Bush tore his Achilles. We'll get that fixed. Oh, yeah, we'll get it fixed. Just throw some dirt on it. Yeah.
And then he
nice and easy.
He talks about my guy from Marshall, Ethan Driscoll, who had an what is it?
Appendectomy.
I can't even say.
Appendectomy.
Appendectomy.
There you go.
How did that happen? Like how do we get to him having to have one?
Well, it can be, ask Dan, it can be super sudden.
Yeah.
I mean, it popped up for him out of nowhere. Same with Jake.
Yeah.
Just suddenly, there you go. There's an appendectomy. It's scary stuff. They cut in you got to blow a bunch of holes in you. Yeah, scary stuff.
But imagine trying to be a football player after that.
Yeah, dude. Oh, God, awful. Absolutely awful. I think Jordan Love had an appendectomy last offseason. What the hell?
Yeah.
It seems miserable. All right, so that's Andy Reid. Let's listen in on what Nick Bolton, the handsomely paid starting inside linebacker for the Chiefs, had to say as well when he spoke at camp today.
How would you grade just overall the defense as a whole, the new faces and stuff that got some play time?
Yeah, I think we did a decent job during the game. I think the tackling was pretty decent. We got some leaky yards. I think our run defense showed up pretty well. Got some physicality, and obviously got a turnover. So kind of some of the things we wanted to do this year, we were able to do that. So I think it's a good start, good foundation, but a lot to improve on still.
Nick, Jeff Foster said he's been learning a lot from you. I guess, how do you feel like he's come along since camp again?
Yeah, man. He definitely, every week, every day, he's getting a little bit better. I learned the scheme, asking good questions. I'm trying to find the right answer. I think all those things kind of add up over time, and you can kind of see at the end of the game, I think he led the team in tackles, if I'm not mistaken. So it's off to a good start. He's a confident guy, high IQ guy. I'm excited for what he has for us.
And Nick, with Jeffrey, first time you met him, what stood out just from meeting him the first time?
Yeah, man. First time I met Jeff, man, he's a big yapper, man. Likes to talk a little bit, have fun, talk a little junk every once in a while. But yeah, obviously can tell he's a high IQ guy, wanting to learn, eager to learn, a lot of humility with that guy. And so as you keep progressing in the game, that stuff kind of definitely exudes itself, and you need it to the most. And just a confident guy, willing to do anything he can to help the team win. That's all you need in our 11 guys on the field.
What do you want to see first to second game preseason?
Yeah, man, obviously, I think one of the things we can improve on is yards at the contact. I think running backs had a little bit too much for the first team, for sure. Fixing that, and then also just a little bit in zone coverage-wise. We had some good matches, but Collar early in the series hit a dig right in behind us and a linebacker. So just want to see that stuff kind of improve as we keep going. Communication, I think, as a defense as a whole, was pretty good. Just improve upon that as we keep going.
Nick, question on Coach Daly. What kind of coach is he? Is he like a hardline guy? Is he a player's coach?
Yeah.
Talk a little bit about it.
Yeah, man. Coach Daly definitely a player's coach, man. Definitely trying to find ways to make his players around him better. Understands that everybody's not the same, so he gives you different schools and keys based off your size and how your style of play is, kind of. So me and Leo don't have the same exact skill set, neither does me and Drew. So he definitely tries to find things in individual to kind of cater around that. So it definitely makes our job a little bit easier. We just come out there, just execute what he has out there in drills, and we just go out there and play and have fun. Also, he's a high IQ guy. Obviously, he's won a lot, been a lot of different places and able to win. And he bring that to our room, man. Competition, IQ, physicality, all things he preaches, man. But he's a great coach.
Taking on another team when you took on the Cardinals, you might learn something that you couldn't learn here at camp. Yeah. Did you guys maybe learn anything from that game about the 2025 Chiefs?
Yeah, man. We got a lot of guys that play a lot of ball for us, so it's good to get those same guys out there. We're kind of just really finding much out. We didn't play that many snaps, but obviously just tackling, man. We want to come in and be a good tackling team, and I think we did a pretty decent job tackling, so just building upon that.
All right, that's Nick Bolton, starting linebacker for the Kansas City Chiefs. He spoke earlier today in Kansas City at Chiefs training at St. Joe at Chiefs training camp. All right, Spencer, Dan and I went through this a little bit earlier, some good and some bad from the first preseason game for the Kansas City Chiefs. I want to see how much overlap here there is. We didn't have you for the first segment. So the good, what is something positive or, extra positive, slightly positive, something you were paying attention to that turned out to be a good thing, something positive from this weekend for the Chiefs?
I mean, Jason Brownlee, who is he?
Former Jet.
I don't really know who he was until he caught the touchdown.
Haven't really said anything about him other than that so far. The first time we talked about him was today.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, if he can, that was a pretty athletic of a catch. It just wasn't an
great
easy
catch.
It wasn't, an easy catch. So I think you got another option there in the receiver room that's going to make it even harder to make the cut.
How'd you feel about Josh Simmons? We've got some folks in the YouTube comments right now. Jayhawk says he thought he looked really good. We were talking about him as a plus earlier. I mean, that, in my opinion, and I'm not making these final roster cuts, that's your left tackle and the debate is over.
Oh, yeah.
He's just got to be better than what you had last year, which was unfathomably bad at left tackle. And even if he's not great, I'm sure he is going to be at least decent, and that's good enough for this team.
Yeah, I mean, are we expecting him to be a first ballot Hall of Famer? No.
No, not right off the bat.
Especially a guy coming off of a patellar tendon injury. The fact that he's playing is huge.
Yeah.
And the fact that he's playing well is great. I think that you see, I'm assuming they're going to maybe play a little bit more of him. I think you have to. I think you have to play him a little bit more in the preseason just to get that NFL. You don't want his first, like, more than, did he play longer?
About a dozen snaps.
Yeah. So I think you want to see him play 30 snaps.
In the preseason?
30 more snaps.
Like total?
No.
Or like 30 next game?
Like a 20 to 30.
Ooh, I don't think you're going to see that.
I think you need to give him more experience.
I think it is more likely he gets pulled after one series than he plays 3 series.
I don't know. I'd like him to play a little bit more.
I hear where you're coming from.
Just because the NFL game to the college game to the NFL game is a huge step up, especially for a guy coming off an injury. And
on the flip side, you got a guy coming off an injury.
Yeah.
Why do you want him going up against Braylon Jackson Maxon the fourth, who's desperate to get a job, who's diving with his helmet at offensive lineman?
Yeah.
That's
it's a hard thing to it's a hard line.
I do see where you're coming from though. Because you want him to be acclimated. You want him to be ready because it's been a long time since he's played competitive football. I do get that. Any worry about Kingston Stuamataia? He was not. He had one really bad rep. Otherwise, he was okay. He got pulled from team drills pretty early today. Jesse Newell had that on Twitter and Blue Sky today. Any worries about Kingsley and what he's going to be out there doing?
I don't know. He's trying a new position.
Yeah, there's going to be hiccups.
There's going to be hiccups. I don't know what to think. I do want to say I did really like what I saw from Robert Tonyan. You give that guy a year off, and maybe he could be a real contributor for a team that thought they had somebody in Jared Wiley who got hurt last year and is just way behind the 8 ball, it appears.
Yeah, veteran. Dan and I were talking about this a little bit earlier. We're with you that a year off, not taking hits, not putting extra pressure on his feet and on his knees, maybe that helps him. And he's not going to play a ton for this team. And he's not exactly an elite blocker, trust me. But maybe a decent third tight end, do some 13 personnel once in a while, maybe on the goal line. Yeah, I think he could be useful there. So definitely positive to see that from Robert Tonyan. Was there anything negative? Anything that really jumped out as, whoa, this was not pleasant?
My player to watch out for, Najee Johnson.
Man, it's never personal, but I was talking about him and compared to Josh Williams and Chris Rowland Wallace a little bit earlier. I just don't, for a team that absolutely has to be set with depth at corner, given the problems they've had with injuries, given the fact that they're going to rely on Christian Fulton, who I like, but who is injured all the time, you have got to be solid with your cornerback depth. And Johnson can play special teams. We know that. He is good at that. But, man, if you can't cover, I just don't know how you're ever going to see the field in a meaningful moment. And ideally, no one ever gets hurt and you don't need him, but you're going to need him because this is the NFL, and that really worries me.
Yeah, I'm trying to get a real check here before I start talking out of my mind here. Yeah. I think he's 5'10" on a good day.
Yeah.
I think he's more like 5'9".
Which makes the whole thing that much more interesting because usually Spags and Dave Merritt want bigger corners.
Yeah, but I mean, you look at a guy like Trent McDuffie, he's listed as 5'11". Chris Rowland Wallace, 5'11".
What are their weights?
What are their weights? Trent McDuffie's 193. Chris Rowland Wallace is 202. Najee is sitting at, now I can't find him. Hold on. I guess they might have him listed as DB.
They might have him listed in a different spot too. But like that's, if he's maybe 5'10", that's a worry. The other thing too, McDuffie's not huge. McDuffie also has elite traits.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So that's the other thing, too, and you can, negate some of those things. So, yeah, I thought Johnson was disappointing. I thought Felix was disappointing. Those were the top two.
I will say that penalty, while his hands were being used, it did look like if you watch it back, because I watched it back because he was my player that I was keeping a lookout.
Of course.
It looked like his legs are part of the reason it happened.
Sure.
Because they got caught up and he was falling anyway, so his momentum took him to use his hands.
Preseason for the refs, too. We've got to get to a commercial break. We'll come on back, get some more thoughts from preseason to week 1. Get you ready for a busy 5 o'clock hour here on 580 Sports Talk. Final few minutes of 580 Sports Talk in this 4 o'clock hour. Coming up in the 5 o'clock hour of the show, we've got today's 580 Sports Talk headlines, including some big college football news. AP poll is out. Let's get chatting about the polls. That's coming up during headlines today. We also, of course, have our Chiefs training camp report with the voice of the Kansas City Chiefs, Mitch Holthus. And we'll preview game 1 between the Royals and Nationals coming up tonight, plus your texts, plus your comments on the YouTube stream. Did you catch any other preseason football this weekend, Spencer?
Yeah, yesterday I turned on the Bears game.
Bears-Dolphins?
For my guy, Tyson Bagent, who had a heck of a touchdown throw.
Had a good day?
Yeah, he had a good day. He was starting. I think he's locked up, right? I think he's the backup there because Ben Johnson can't stop saying enough good things about him. He's the starting quarterback. He's said so many good things about him.
I mean, he's much more like Jared Goff than Caleb Williams is. Goff was a perfect fit for that offense. Now, we were talking about Josh Simmons and how much he's going to play. And look, Andy Reid's going to do what Andy Reid always does. That's one situation. And even though I've been you don't need preseason guy for a long time, and I have adapted and changed that a little bit because so many teams started so slowly last year. That's one situation where I would think, why don't you want Caleb Williams starting? Because he was really bad last year, and you have a new head coach and a lot of new offensive pieces and a new line. Why wouldn't you want him getting live reps as much as possible?
Yeah, I mean, I think you throw him there just because you've got a whole new OC, a whole new playbook he's running through. It's another playbook in another year for him.
Yeah.
With what he did, he had a few playbooks in college. Now he's got another set of playbooks after what last year was. So, yeah, I don't know why they didn't play him, but Tyson played pretty well. And there's apparently people are saying he could get traded as a backup. So I don't know.
See, I mean, it's certainly possible. Everybody needs somebody, but I'd keep a good backup. I thought the same thing with Green Bay. And like, I think the same thing with the Chiefs, with Minshew, because usually you need their backup in Kansas City to do at least something competently once a year. I want that guy. I want a guy who is going to be respectful. That's more valuable to me than, a day 3 pick.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
We've got to get to a break for the news, both national and local. We'll come on back, start off the 5 o'clock hour with our headlines and Mitch Holthus right here on 580 Sports Talk. 580 Sports Talk coming your way on the Sports Voice of Kansas. I'm Brendan Dworzinski. Across the glass is Spencer Dupuis. Dan Lucero is out for the rest of the day, but he will be back coming up on tomorrow's show. We appreciate you hanging out with us today, however you are doing so, listening on 580 AM or 104.9 FM in the capital city, online at 580WIBW.com, on the WIBW News Facebook page, or on the 580 Sports Talk YouTube channel. We appreciate you spending some of your Monday afternoon hours with us. 781 subscribers on the YouTube. 800 Dan and I arm wrestle. We're getting close. Really hilariously close.
Yeah, very close. Let's see how long it takes.
I'm hopeful we can get this going. I'd love to set a date before kickoff, but I don't want to be too adventurous. Let's see how close we can get before kickoff.
Yeah.
What a fun way to kick off.
I was telling Dan, it's crazy. Last summer, we had 580.
Yeah.
Like
exponential growth.
Late last summer, we had 580.
I remember it.
Because I remember Trenton, former intern Trenton Craxter, and I did a push to 500.
I remember that. I remember it very well. Yeah, it's been awesome to see that number keep going up. Hope you guys, if you haven't checked out the YouTube, will do so. Maybe you'll even subscribe while you are over there. In this final hour of 580 Sports Talk today, we've got our 580 Sports Talk headlines here in just a matter of moments. Mitch Holthus is going to join us for our training camp report brought to you by Azura Credit Union. We're talking wide receivers. We're hearing from Big Red regarding the wide receivers coming up here with Mitch today. Some very interesting notes in that department. Also, we'll get ready for game one between the Royals and Nationals. We'll get Spencer's scouting report of the Nasty Nats as we head into every series the rest of the way is the biggest series of the year for the Royals, unless they really bomb the next three against the Nationals, White Sox, and Rangers. But this is, for now, and for all intents and purposes, the biggest series of the year for the Kansas City Royals if they want to make it to the postseason. So we'll get you that preview coming up later on this hour. We want to hear from you as well. Text line number, as always, 785-272-9429. And if you would like to reach us, if you're watching YouTube, well, you can do so in the comment section. 580 Sports Talk on YouTube. Very, very easy to go and find us there. Just go to youtube.com, search 580 Sports Talk, click subscribe, and then boom, you're right there watching the show today.
We've got some breaking Royals news, injury related.
Oh, let's do it.
Let's
start our 580 Sports Talk headlines right now.
According to Aaron Rodgers of MLB.com, Royals beat writer, a late roster move for the Royals. Hunter Harvey has been placed on the 15-day DIL with a right adductor strain. This is obviously Harvey's second stint on the injured list. He had just come back on July 25th. Right-handed pitcher Luinder Avila, I believe how you say his name.
Avila probably.
Has been recalled for what would be his MLB debut in his first appearance.
I love the idea of Hunter Harvey. That I just feel bad for him.
Yeah.
That just sucks to constantly be injured.
But that's his MO though.
Yep.
Like all the way back to Baltimore.
Some guys are just always hurt. Some guys are just always banged up. They are always hurt. They're made of glass. It's not their fault, but yikes, that's tough for the Royals, who at this point, I mean, now that Hunter Harvey is going to make or break the season, it's not like if Urseg or Estevez got hurt at this point of the year in the bullpen, or another starting pitcher or something, but you just can't have negative breaks at this point.
Yeah.
Given who we know this team is, you really can't afford any sort of negativity. And that, unfortunately, I think would qualify as a negative spot for the Kansas City Royals. All right, let's get into it with some more 580 Sports Talk headlines. Let's go to the first AP Top 25 College Football Poll of the year. Number one, for the first time ever, the Texas Longhorns. They get the most first-place votes. Penn State comes in number 2. Ohio State, the reigning national champions, 3. Clemson is 4. The Dogs from Georgia, the Bulldogs, they are number 5. Any surprises? Top 5 for you?
I don't think so. I mean,
No.
I think it's pretty much you could put at least the top 3 or 4 kind of pretty much anywhere. But obviously all the hype there is with Texas.
If I'm James Franklin, I am thanking my lucky stars I did not get that number 1 ranking because people already want his head in Happy Valley. And boy, if they were ranked number 1 preseason and they didn't make the playoff, win the national title, whatever, oh boy, they would be calling for his head. Rest of the top 10 includes Notre Dame at 6. That's a little high for me for Notre Dame. Oregon at 7, Alabama 8, LSU 9, and Miami at number 10. First Big 12 team in the poll, Arizona State. They slide in at 11. Kansas State at number 17. And Iowa State, number 22. Texas Tech, number 23. So 4 Big 12 teams making it into the poll. None in the top 10, however. Other teams receiving votes, well, you get a lot of Big 12 love there. BYU, Utah, and Baylor, they would be 26, 27, and 28 if you expanded the poll out just a little bit. TCU and Colorado, really? Also receiving votes in the preseason poll. KU
How many votes did Colorado receive?
I don't have that number in front of me. I imagine it's probably
minimal.
2, 5, something like that. Yeah, I mean, that's dumb. No, that I would not put them there, but hey, I don't get a vote. So unfortunately, I do not get to determine that. The rest of the poll, as it shakes out, I told you Arizona State's at 11. Illinois, that is one of the sexy picks this year to make the college football playoff out of the Big Ten. They're 12th. The team they beat in their bowl game last year, South Carolina, and their star quarterback, Lenora Sellers, come in 13. Michigan, the 2023 national champions, they are 14th. Florida at 15. SMU, they made the playoff last year. They got a returning quarterback in Kevin Jennings. They're 16th. Oklahoma 18th, right after Kansas State. Now that's funny. Texas A&M is 19. Indiana back at 20. Indiana's got one of the best transfer quarterbacks in the country in Fernando Mendoza, formerly of Cal. Ole Miss from the SEC is 21st. Then those 2 Big 12 schools, Iowa State, Texas Tech. Tennessee 24th. Boise State 25th. Do you feel like the Big 12 got the appropriate respect here?
I don't know. I feel like unfortunately with the Big 12, you got to earn it. Like, they're the bottom of the Power 4 in most opinions.
Ooh, you think they're below the ACC?
I don't think so. I think a lot of people view it that way. So
the Big 12 does not have a team that is as good as Clemson.
Yeah.
I would take the next several Big 12 teams before I would take the next ACC team.
I mean, I would as well. I just think it's the national viewpoint.
So the ACC preseason poll, Clemson's the favorite, no duh.
Yeah.
How many Big 12 teams would you take over Miami, who's number 10? I would take K-State.
Yeah.
I think Arizona State would be fair.
I would as well.
I think the Big 12 is deeper. That's the thing. Like, okay, Clemson, Miami, SMU, they are all ranked in the preseason top 25. Georgia Tech is also receiving votes. They came in 4th in the ACC preseason poll. Louisville also receiving votes. They're 5th. Duke is 6th. I mean, Duke will probably be a bowl team, but are you scared of Duke? Who's better, Duke or Kansas? Kansas. Yeah. I'm taking Kansas without thinking twice. Duke or Iowa State? Iowa State did end up in the rankings, but like one of those mid-tier Big 12 teams. And I mean, like North Carolina is 8th. I think North Carolina is not a top half of the Big 12 team this year. Unless you really believe in Bill Belichick, and if you do, good luck.
Yeah.
Greatest NFL coach of all time, but we'll see.
We saw Bill Belichick's swan song in New England.
It did not go very well. Yeah, I mean, Pitt 9th, NC State 10th. I would put those behind at least half of the Big 12, personally. And those are where they rank in the ACC preseason poll. Anyone in the top 25 you would move up or down? I'm a little surprised Tech is only 23rd.
Yeah.
That one is a little surprising talking about the Big 12. Illinois is right about where I expected them to be. I mean, Miami brought in Carson Beck at quarterback, but I don't know. I don't think Carson Beck's better than Cam Ward, and they missed the playoff last year with Cam Ward.
Yeah, I mean, I think I don't know.
I think Notre Dame is too high as well. Too many question marks. CJ Carr might be great, and if he is, they'll be a top 10 team, but that feels a little rich for my blood for Notre Dame to start the season.
Yeah.
That's your AP Top 25, first poll of the year for college football. Spencer, what is your next headline?
Watch list season continues. Kansas State's Junior linebacker Austin Romaine has been named to the Bednarik Award preseason watch list presented to the nation's most outstanding defensive player by the Maxwell Football Club. Last year, Austin Moore was in there as well. Kobe Savage the year prior. DJ Reed back in 2017. They had two semifinalists back in 2012. It was Arthur Brown. And then we've talked about this man on the show today. 2022, Felix Ndike Uzama was a semifinalist. And then Chris Canty was a finalist back in 1996 for Romaine. This is the third watch list he's been put onto this preseason. First, it was the Bronco Nagurski Trophy Award preseason watch list, the Defensive Player of the Year Award in college football, and then the Butkus Award preseason watch list for the nation's top linebacker. So the preseason trophy watch list honors keep coming in for Austin Romaine ahead of the season opener in week 0 coming up not this Saturday, next Saturday in Dublin, Ireland.
Man, we are just 12 days away from the start of college football.
It's a ranked Farmageddon.
Yeah, ranked Farmageddon, first game of the year, nobody else on at that time. Yeah, that's going to be a blast from Dublin. Why don't you parlay that into our next headline, too, about a former K-Stater who's coming to Kansas City?
Yeah, former K-State defensive end Nate Matlack. Is it Matlack?
Yep.
Has signed with the Chiefs, as we obviously talked about this earlier. Deion Bush tore his Achilles in the game. So unfortunate for him. And then defensive end Janarius Robinson fractured his foot near his toe, is what Andy Reid said, Janarius Robinson had a sack in that game. So that's really unfortunate for them. Both of those guys hit IR, and they signed defensive end depth for Robinson.
Yeah, Matlack was a real nice player at K-State, local guy from Johnson County in Olathe School, maybe. K-State fans, you can correct me if I got his high school wrong. Cool for him. Gets to come back home. Started at K-State, transferred out to Pitt. Man, there was some smoke that KU was interested when he hit the transfer portal. Man, that would have been crazy. But he ends up going to Pitt for his final year. Janarius Robinson, I don't know what his outlook for I don't think he was going to make the 53. Broken foot is tough for a big guy, for a defensive end. But if he's able to get that healed up, I would not be surprised if the Chiefs waive him with an injury settlement and he goes back onto the free agent market and tries to sign on with somebody at some point.
But for Matlack, he could impress him, maybe get a practice squad spot out of it.
Yeah, sure. No, it absolutely could work out that way. And at the very least, he's going to make a little cash showing up in St. Joe and working out a few times. So hard to beat that. The Deion Bush news kind of sucks. I know he's one of the last safeties on the depth chart, but he is a core special teamer. One of the best special teamers the Chiefs have. He's just always in the right place at the right time. Athletically, not as gifted as some other players in the NFL and on the Kansas City Chiefs roster, but that's a bummer because Bush has been a really nice player in a couple different ways for this Chiefs team in recent years. He's come up with some big plays and big playoff moments during the course of his Chiefs career. Another note from the NFL today as we continue our 580 Sports Talk headlines. Mitch Holthus is going to join us in just a few minutes. But first, Landon Dickerson carted off the field at Eagles practice earlier today. He suffered what appeared to be a right leg injury. This was actually yesterday when he got hurt. He had an MRI on his knee earlier today. It is a meniscus issue. He had a minor surgery on it. Not sure exactly what the procedure was. If it was just a cleanup, a slight trim, whatever. So they are going to consider him week to week, and they hope to have him back in week 1 for their season opener against the Dallas Cowboys. Remember, J.J. McCarthy missed the entire season last year, his rookie season, with a meniscus tear that had to be fully repaired. They ended up just sitting him out for the entire season. Doesn't sound like it's quite as severe with Landon Dickerson, but man, he's a really good player. The one thing Philadelphia has, though, is depth and all sorts of other gigantic people and the best offensive line coach in the NFL and Jeff Stoutland. They'll figure it out for 1 week against the Cowboys pass rush that, outside of Micah Parsons, I don't know if it's going to be all that good this year. So I think the Eagles will be fine week 1, even if they don't have Dickerson.
Yeah, but still lingering. Even coming back might tush push might hinder him.
They were willing to essentially risk Jason Kelsey's life doing it regularly. Those guys, linemen are nuts. And I mean that in a complimentary way. They are nuts. He's not going to want to take it easy.
Who was it? I can't remember who. Was Dickerson the one that was hurt last year in the playoffs and they played after he missed one game?
Oh, was that Dickerson? I know what you're talking about. But I do not recall.
I can't remember who it is, but yeah, they are sickos.
One other personnel note from the NFL: Cam Hayward has hinted that he might even consider sitting out the start of the season. He has been holding in Latrobe, Pennsylvania, St. Vincent University, Pittsburgh Steelers training camp. He's willing to miss regular season games as he looks to renegotiate a contract extension he signed last year. Signed it after having a little bit of a down year or going into 2024. And then he played like an all-pro. In fact, he was an all-pro. And he says, quote, there are definitely options out there that would reflect that, as in possibly holding out to start the season. Said, quote, my goal is to be out here, and I don't know what's going to happen. I've had to be honest with myself and be ready for every option. And has it gone the way I wanted to go? No. If it did, I would be out there playing and practicing. But I'd like to put this in the rearview mirror and worry about ball and the New York Jets in week 1. Cam Hayward's one of the best and most respected players in the NFL. That would be brutal if they do not get him at the start of the season. Real quick, Spencer, let's go through the winner's circle. Some events from the weekend. How's your man Shane Van Gisbergen?
Hey, can I play a little 30-second or less clip here from our friend and our pal, Dan Lucero from Friday's show?
Let's hear it.
Also this weekend.
You predicted it on Friday, but who didn't? Who wouldn't? Who couldn't predict it?
Especially after Zilich got hurt, broke his collarbone, that nasty fall he had on Saturday during but that's not the sprint series anymore. Whatever the secondary series is. It was pretty obvious. I won a little scratch on that race. I put a few bucks down on SVG to win because it was a road course. And hey, look, I get something right once in a while. Also from the FedEx St. Jude in Memphis, Justin Rose beats JJ Spawn in a playoff. Crystal Palace also beat Liverpool to win the Community Shield, the FA Community Shield, which is, according to Dan, both the unofficial start of the major European club soccer season, and also that trophy is, quote, a glorified dinner plate. Who cares, unquote. Dan, my man, I will take your word for it. I will just take your word for it. All right, that is our 580 Sports Talk headlines for today. Let's get to a quick timeout. Mitch Holthus, the voice of the Chiefs, joins us next for our training camp report on 580 Sports Talk. 526 on 580 Sports Talk. Brendan and Spencer here with you today, and it is the best time of the day because we are now joined on the Fleming Place Wine and Spirits hotline by the voice of the Kansas City Chiefs. That is the great Mitch Holthus for today's training camp report, brought to you by Hy-Vee, your official tailgate headquarters for Kansas City Chiefs football, and by Azure Credit Union. Contact Crystal Rippey, Kirsten McCall, or Naseem Khan about the Credit Union Advantage for your next home loan. Mitch, good to hear from you, my friend. How good did it feel to be back in the booth and calling some competitive, to some degree, football this past weekend?
Yeah, it was awesome, actually. A little bit different. Our first time in without 35 years without Dan Israel. But that was just a little bit somber note. But overall, it was great to just get it going and flowing and getting back at 5 in the morning and getting a nap and getting up and attacking these 3 days, which are important and a big test by Andy Reid for his team. But, yeah, we're back playing football and doing it quickly when we go to Seattle on Thursday to play Friday night.
Man, nothing gets the blood flowing more than that first touchdown pass. See Mahomes throw that beautiful ball to Jason Brownlee. And what a perfect segue, Mitch, because we're going to talk some wide receivers today. Some pretty impressive notes coming out of training camp. I know you've talked about them on these reports a little bit already. Obviously, Brownlee had that big catch for the touchdown on the one throw from Patrick Mahomes that counted this past weekend. Let's get to these wide receivers a little bit because they were some of the biggest stars of that preseason opener against Arizona.
No question. And we've got 14 wide receivers in camp. There are 8 guys making very strong pushes for probably 6 slots. Now, we've got to take into account a looming suspension of Rashee Rice, and then also look at potential injury with Hollywood Brown, although, just got to be patient with it. But Andy Reid doesn't give you hyperbole when he's talking about groups or players generally. I mean, he'll say good things, but he won't say like, hey, he's the greatest guy of all time. So when Andy Reid had this to say about the wide receiver core, I kind of stopped and raised my eyebrows.
This is really the best group we've had collectively since I've been here. Brett's done a nice job of bringing these guys in, and you look at them, and they're all making plays out here and doing some good things.
Well, and when he says that, you go, whoa, okay. And you take it. But the point is here, we know that he's got Xavier Worthy, you've got Rashee Rice, you've got Hollywood Brown, you got Juju Smith-Schuster. There's 4. That's easy. You got 4. Now, Jalen Royals played great the other night. He had a terrific blitz read on 3rd and 8 with Gardner Minshew, and then he had another catch. But his blitz read was fantastic. There's another one. There's 5. Then you add Nico Remigio is the best returner on this team, and he had a 50-yard return the other night. Keep in mind a 63-yarder against Houston in the playoffs and a 38-yard return in the AFC Championship game. So where are we at? There's 4, 5, 6. Then you add the camp darling Tyquan Thornton, who was targeted by Pat Mahomes on an RPO at the goal line and drew a pass interference penalty on the Cardinals once. So that was good. Plus he had another catch. And then you mentioned Brownlee. Out of nowhere, East Mississippi Junior College, Southern Mississippi, undrafted. Looks like Otis Taylor when he breaks the huddle wearing number 89. He's been awesome in this camp. I mean, Thornton is the only guy that's probably been ahead of him as far as, shooting up the chart. And so that's 8 guys. 8 guys that are all worthy to make this team. And over the next couple of weeks, it will be the most interesting position to watch as far as the race to the roster.
And one of the things I really like about this group, Mitch, and I'm right there with you. I mean, that is an eye-popping comment there from Coach Reid. One of the things I like is that while there is obviously some skill overlap, and the Chiefs are always going to look for certain traits or abilities when they bring guys in, there are a lot of guys who can do a lot of different things. And I always like that in a wide receiver room, because even if you've got multiple guys who are quote-unquote speed receivers, well, and I know Hollywood is hurt right now, but Hollywood and Xavier Worthy, they're not the exact same kind of guy. Rashee Rice does something different. Nico Remigio obviously does something different and adds to special teams. You throw in a guy like Jason Brownlee. I mean, Patrick Mahomes hasn't thrown to many dudes who are 6'3" and over 200 pounds. I love that they can throw so many different types of things at you. It makes it that much more difficult on an opposing secondary.
Yeah, I've stated this before, and I will continue to state it so that the fans don't forget it, in that you have to learn every receiver position if you're a wide receiver in this offense. You're not an X, you're not a Y. I mean, a Y is a tight end. If you're not an X, a Z, or a slot, you're all of it. Now, the point you make with Brownlee is a good one because all of the guys that we have on this team are not necessarily high point, go get the ball guys, which is essential in the red zone. How many times you want to run fades to the corners, and you want a guy that can high point the ball. And we, other than the tight ends, we haven't had that guy. We've had the smaller, faster guy. That's Xavier Worthy. That's Hollywood Brown. That's Rashee Rice to some extent. That's Jalen Royals. That's Juju Smith-Schuster. He's not going to high point anything. Remijo's not a high point guy. Tyquan Thornton kind of, but Brownlee is. And he's done it time and time again. It wasn't just the game. He had done it in the Thursday practice before we left. He did it twice in the red zone from Mahomes on high point throws. So if that threat is there, it makes you potentially more effective in the red zone again because you have to attack the entire width of the field in the red zone because the field's condensed, but there's no restriction on airspace. So go on up. Go up there and get it, which teams do time and time again.
We're joined by Mitch Holthus, voice of the Kansas City Chiefs, joining us for our daily Chiefs training camp report here on 580 Sports Talk. Mitch, as always, is brought to you by our friends at Hy-Vee and Azura Credit Union. And speaking of the red zone, having those big bodies obviously helps because you've got more, it's a condensed space and you got to find somewhere to put the ball. So it's often put it up high, let someone go high point it and jump to get it. But you can obviously have too, Mitch, and you know this as well as anybody, smaller guys who can be really good red zone weapons. Tyreek Hill is, as we know, very small, but was a great red zone weapon when he was at his peak with the Chiefs. Who are some of the guys, next to Brownlee, who's got that huge body and obviously the tight ends, some of those guys who you think could be really effective red zone weapons this year?
At the wide receiver position?
At wide receiver, yeah.
Yeah, and they're going to be more of the route we ran, corn dog route, like pivot runners, crossers, rubbers. There's nobody really that has Brownlee's game as far as the jump. It could be Thornton. I got to see what Thornton's vert is, but the other guys, they're really not high point guys. I mean, they could be effective. I think Royals is going to be overall a very good red zone receiver because he's got great hands. I'm going to feature him in the last week. The rest of this week, I'm going to call nitty gritty week. Guys that have got to be nitty gritty guys and jump up for us to have the season we want. Not necessarily stars, but very productive. But next week, I'm going to get all of the rookies. And Royals is one that I think his hands, his footwork, the fact that he's an AAU basketball player helps him. He did it the other night. So I think that's your best candidate. Maybe Thornton on high point throws. But other than that, the rest of these guys are rub-a-dub-dub, scheme, Tom and Jerry, corn dog, and, McCole Hardman run route guys.
All right, so the big question here with the wide receiver room, and sometimes this is not an entirely fair question because it's almost a little reductive, I think, to just boil it all down to, all right, well, roster numbers. But that being said, you only get 53 spots on the opening day roster, and obviously there are tough cuts, and Dave Tobe is going to have his say with guys who can do some special team stuff as well. Obviously, everybody on the offensive staff is going to have a say. Right now, if you had to guess, Mitch, what sounds like the right number in terms of receivers who will stick around? And again, the fact that all these guys do something different, Nico Remigio with special teams or, whatever that skill might be, it makes it so you have a lot of good options, but only so many spots to fit those guys into.
Yeah, anything more than 6 gets real rough because you're going to be robbing other positions on the team.
Sure.
Because of the 53-man restriction. So if you take 7 receivers is a lot. Keep in mind, you got 7 inactive guys every game day. Or 6, depending on how your roster's configured and with practice squad elevations and the like. So 7 seems like way too much. 6, and then if you have 6, 5 and 6 have got to be special teams guys and not just returners. They need to be gunners. That's why Tyquan Thornton today was working a gunner. He has tried to even work a kickoff return some. But so to your point, when you're looking at these guys, for example, if you took special teams out of the equation, Nico would be 8 of those 8 that I mentioned. But special teams is in the middle of the equation.
Right.
And particularly with the new kickoff rule and the dynamic kickoff. So he now goes from 8 to probably 5 because of that. And you need it. I don't think fans always think of that because they're playing fantasy football with these guys. And you go, wait a minute. Then your fantasy league made it designate two guys that have to play special teams. And that means gunner, flyer, bracket guy, coverage on kicks, blocking on kicks. For example, with the new dynamic kickoff, you'll have 2 guys back, kind of splitting the field. Well, then the other guy has to run a diagonal at about 30 yards, depending on which way the return is going, to block the first guy down the field. If you can't do that, all you can do is, then you better be a really good pass catcher like Worthy or whatever, and he's not going to do it. But this discussion, your question's excellent, and I'm giving you a long-winded answer. But fans need to realize special teams is in the middle of this discussion as it pertains to the wide receivers. And so 5 and 6, if you keep 6, have got to be 4 core special teams guys.
Real quick, Mitch, last thing I've got, and I don't even know if this is as much of a question as it is just a commentary here. I think my favorite thing about Jason Brownlee's touchdown catch this weekend, a wide receiver wearing a number in the 80s catching a pass. We've lost the recipe, Mitch. Too many receivers wearing single digits and numbers in the teens. Receivers should be wearing numbers in the 80s. It's how I grew up, and it's what I still demand. We don't get enough of that these days.
Nope, and now DBs want to burn up single digits. Everybody wants a single-digit number.
89 is a good number. 87 is a good number.
Well, 89 is a great number. It's Otis Taylor. Like I'd show him Otis Taylor tape. Like, look at this guy. You're wearing something sacred here. These guys all want single numbers, and quarterbacks want them, and running backs want them, and DBs want them now. And keep in mind, 3, we can't use 3. That's Jan Stenerud. It's retired. So that burns up one of the 10 single numbers that are, if you're going to use 0, we don't have any zeros on this team. But take 3 out. Now you're down to even less single numbers. So I'm with you. Put them in 80s and let them run. But look around the league. Most of the guys don't have 80 numbers anymore.
1, 2, 4, and 5 all on receivers. I can't believe it. Mitch Holthus joins us every day during training camp for our Chiefs training camp reports, brought to you by our good friends, as always, at Hy-Vee and Azura Credit Union. Contact Crystal, Kirsten, or Nassim about the credit union advantage for your next home loan. Mitch, we appreciate the time as always. What can we look forward to for tomorrow's report?
Well, not just 1, 4, and 5, but you've got 8 and 9. Those are also so.
Come on, guys.
8, I know. Go get an 80 number. Grab it. Nitty-gritty week. Who's got to jump up? Who's got to – and then the first nitty-gritty guy is actually trying to rediscover what he was, and that's Isaiah Pacheco. That's where we go tomorrow night.
Ooh, I like that one. Mitch, we appreciate the time, man. We'll talk to you then.
All right.
That is the great Mitch Holthus, the voice of the Kansas City Chiefs. Finally, someone is on my side with these damn numbers. Receivers, you got to be in the 80s, man.
Oh, yeah.
That's where you belong.
Yeah.
Receivers, tight ends, numbers in the 80s. If you've run out of numbers in the 80s, okay, maybe you can do something in the teens. 80s first. It's right up there with my oldest man take. And the numbers in single digits, come on.
Well, I think
2 on a receiver, give me a break.
Like, Jared Wiley's 12 is so awkward.
Gross. Hideous.
Like, it's so awkward to look at, especially the other night. Like, when he caught his pass, I was like, is he a running back out of the... No, that's Jared Wiley.
No. You know what? I'm going to reassign him a number right now. What numbers in the 80s are open? Nothing. The Chiefs with a... Okay. If Jake Browning-Stool doesn't make this roster, congrats, Jared Wiley. You're 88 now.
Yeah.
That's Tony G's number. How do you beat that? Come on.
Or 80. 82, 84.
Yeah, Elijah Badger doesn't make the team. Congrats, you're wearing 80, Jared Wiley. It shouldn't bother me. It doesn't, really. I'm not actually upset.
No,
but I am
it does.
tiny
bit. I'm so of that mindset that it's so hard to get used to.
Remember when Teddy Bridgewater wore 50 at quarterback last year?
Then they didn't allow it, did they?
Yeah, they let him play.
And then he switched.
Yeah,
by the end of the year, which apparently. Side note, he's back in the league.
Yeah, he's with the Bucs.
Yeah.
All right, real quick, before we get to a commercial break, I want to follow up on what Mitch had to say. Awesome stuff from Mitch. If you missed any of our conversation today or any of our training camp reports, go head over to the 580 Sports Talk page on Spotify or our website, 580wibw.com, and you can find the podcast version of the show. Go listen back to those. All right, I've been kind of thinking 7 with the wide receiver room just because they have so many options. Let's make it hard on ourselves. You get to keep 6. You get 6 wide receivers on this team. Who are you taking?
Are we including Rashee Rice?
Yeah, include Rashee Rice.
All right. Well, obviously, Rice,
Yep.
Brown, Worthy, Jalen Royals.
Yep. Those 4 are easy.
Tyquan Thornton.
And then you're pretty much down to what? Remigio or Juju?
Yeah.
See, that might seem sacrilegious to some. I'm not overwhelmingly attached to keeping Juju.
I'm not either, personal, but apparently Andy thinks he's a leader in the room.
Yeah, and there is value to that. And Andy Reid is going to lean with his guys and with the veterans. But, when we talk about what are you bringing to the table, Nico Remigio is bringing a good return man to the table. He is going to bring somebody that adds some speed. Yeah. I would rather keep the guy who can return than Juju at this point. But yeah. Juju's also their bulkiest receiver at 6'1", 215. Even if Brownlee makes the team, he's not that heavy.
Well, I think so. Brownlee makes the team if Rashee Rice does get suspended before the season starts. If not, I think you shelf him for the rest of the preseason, and he makes the practice squad.
You try to get him on the practice squad?
Yeah.
I don't even think you need to sit him out, honestly. That's something that comes up all the time that, someone might take our guys. It is very rare that ends up happening because every team wants to keep their guys, right?
Yeah, although most of the time, if they take anybody, it's like it's a weird vet that got cut because they could pay him. They could pay somebody else less.
Yeah, and I'm not trying to rag on Juju here, although he is wearing a single digit. And obviously, I feel negatively about that. Thornton's been interesting. He's at a great camp. He brings that speed element. He's a bigger body too. Mitch, by the way, asked about it. The vertical jump for Tyquan Thornton, decent. 36.5 inches at the combine a couple years ago. That was 76th percentile. Not bad. Not elite, but pretty good, all things considered. Hard to keep him off, especially if you're going to put him on special teams. And that to me, I think is going to be the most difficult spot to make a cut down. Probably wide receiver and corner this year, if I had to guess. That'd be my assumption. Let's get to a timeout here on 580 Sports Talk. When we come back, we will get to some of your texts, some of your YouTube comments, some final Chiefs thoughts, and previewing Royals versus Nationals. The Fighting Spencer Dupuis taking the field against the boys in blue. What's it going to look like? Spencer will tell us next on 580 Sports Talk. 546, 580 Sports Talk. I'm Brendan. That's Spencer. Thanks for hanging out with us on this Monday afternoon. All got some, you got a case of the Mondays today? I do.
Yeah.
I wanted to leave work all day today. I'm not afraid to admit it.
I will admit this. Yesterday or last week, I was so like locked in,
Mhm.
and I was like, hopefully that like continues to next week. And I was sitting at my desk at 11:15 this morning. I'm like, oh, it's a Monday.
Yeah.
Not locked in like I thought I'd be.
No, I'm I got here this morning, had a meeting at 8. Got out of it, a short meeting, done about 8:20 or so. Went to my desk and thought, I'd rather be anywhere but here. I want to be here with you guys. I don't get to be here enough anymore for reasons that are bleep that one. Wish I could be here every day with you. Glad I get to spend this afternoon with you. But yeah, it's just one of those days. Felt very Garfield-like today. And
say,
like Garfield as well, I would love to have some lasagna right now.
Hey, I will say, weather was nice today, which means it felt nice in the building.
That's true. We were not cooking in here, although it is kind of hot right now. I'm a little sweaty. What does it say in there? How hot is my room?
It doesn't say.
What?
It tells me 67 degrees for both.
Okay, well, that's not true. It is definitely hotter than 67 degrees in here. I guarantee you that. It is hotter than 67 degrees in here. My word.
Yeah.
Mark B. from the YouTube says, Brendan, better get in some left arm kid curls. Yeah, we're getting dangerously close to the arm wrestling match between Dan and I. 800 subscribers on our YouTube feed. That's what we need. 800 subscribers on the YouTube feed. And Dan and I are going to arm wrestle. We are 19 away. We need 19 more of you to go to youtube.com, search 580 Sports Talk, and subscribe to our channel. And then Dan and I are going to arm wrestle. Have you weighed in on who you think wins? I don't know what we're going to do.
I'm not going to do that because I'm announcing it.
That's true.
I can't give you that.
That's
I'm going to
true.
be here announcing.
No, I appreciate that. I like the objectivity. We don't know what we're going to do for a tiebreaker. Because if we do 2 out of 3, because I'm right-handed and he's left-handed. So I'm obviously going to be the favorite for the right-hand. Well, I hope I'm the favorite for the right-handed one. He will be for the left-handed one. What do we do if we go 1-1?
I don't know. We got to figure out logistically how this is going to work in here. Or is it going to be a pre-recorded segment?
I think we'll have to pre-record it and play it on the show.
Yeah.
I think that's the way we'll have to do it.
Yeah.
Because this room and our table is not, it's kind of horseshoe shaped. It's not like
conducive to an arm wrestling match.
Vance asks on YouTube, what's the wager between us? Just bragging rights and making sure, like, if I win, I will be very respectful about it. And every morning when I see Dan, when he gets here, I will say, Dan, do you remember when I beat you in arm wrestling? And if Dan does the same thing, I will lock my door. And if he says, hey, come on the show and I'm going to talk about how I beat you, I'm just going to pretend that I don't know what he's talking about. That's how this goes. I don't know if we're going to put a wager on it, honestly. Maybe we will. Dan and I haven't even talked about that. We've been so committed to getting everybody together to get to this 800 number. We haven't even talked about a wager.
Yeah.
All right. We got baseball coming up tonight. 6 o'clock, pregame start time. Royals Radio Network. Royals versus the Washington Nationals. And Beltway insider Spencer Dupuis is here.
Yes.
Your team has kind of sucked since the deadline. Well, they've kind of sucked all year.
Well, yes,
but they've really sucked
all year. They've really sucked since the deadline because they had any of their pitching that was good. They traded it away. James Wood, we talked about this earlier. He hasn't been very good since the All-Star break.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting note there.
I said this earlier.
Participated in the Home Run Derby.
I know there is all sorts of data, and people have taken decades worth of Home Run Derby information and said, actually, there's no proof that the Derby makes you perform worse in the second half. I do not care. As much of a statistical based guy as I am with a lot of my opinions, I am ignoring all of that data because I believe the Derby screws up your swing.
Yeah.
I am a firm believer.
Well, I think too, James Wood is such a unique build to him.
Big guy,
big
boy.
His swing, how he hit,
violent swing,
not necessarily conducive to a Home Run Derby.
Yeah.
That's why he did the way he did.
Yeah.
Like he's not Aaron Judge tall.
So the Royals need to win this series.
They do.
And frankly, I think they need to sweep this series.
I think it'll be a little tough, at least the first few innings.
All right, tell us why tonight.
So Cade Cavalli former Nats #1 prospect. He had TJ. He's back. Although if you look at his career ERA, it's not very good, but he's only pitched 8 2/3 innings total. That includes 4 1/3 innings last week versus the Athletics. 3 hits, 1 walk, 6 strikeouts. That's his first game back from TJ.
The concern, I would imagine, is even if he looks great, and I mean, he was awesome in that game last time out, I imagine the concern is you're not going to get him for more than 5 at the absolute most.
Yeah, I think tonight might be 5, maybe 5 1/3 or something, depending on his pitch count. But he's a strikeout guy. So
yeah.
That's and he had 6 strikeouts in 4 1/3 innings, allowing 3 hits and just 1 walk. So he's just getting back. I think it'll be interesting tonight. Maybe if the Royals can win it late against the bullpen, that's where I think it'll happen.
Tell us about this Nats bullpen. Is it any good?
Well, they traded away any good pieces that they had.
Okay, that tells us about all we need to know.
Yes.
About the Washington Nationals bullpen. Do you feel the same way? Does this have to be a sweep?
I think it does. I think it has to be a sweep. And it's weird for me to say this. Like, I want my own team to get swept.
Of course.
But I think if you want to say, yeah, we did what we did at the trade deadline for the reasons that we did because we're going to make it to the postseason, you got to sweep. You got to go. I mean, our pal Trenton Craxner, former intern, he sent us something over text. He said, can the Royals go 28-16 the rest of the way to make the playoffs? That's a big number.
That's a big number.
But you gotta fragment it.
We talked about this on Wednesday's show when we were live up at Prairie Band and Firekeeper Golf Course. In the next 13 games for the Royals, they played a Twins team that was a ghost ship, a bad Nationals team at home. The White Sox have played better, but still aren't good. And then a Rangers team. And again, only the Twins series was at home. You had 13 games. You had to go at least 9-4 in those 13. Well, now the Royals need to go no worse than 8-2 in the next 10 to hit that pace. Can they do that? Starts with winning this series against the Nationals. And winning it, I would say, in pretty convincing fashion. We'll find out if they can do that. Cade Cavalli for the Nats, Bailey Falter for the Royals tonight. 6:40 first pitch, pregame at 6 on the Royals radio network here on your home for Royals baseball since first pitch in 1969. 580 WIBW. We've got one more commercial break to get to pay some bills. We'll come on back, wrap up this edition of 580 Sports Talk after this. Wrapping up 580 Sports Talk, getting out of here after a great Monday show. If you missed any of it, check out the podcast on Spotify or go check out the YouTube. Check it all out there. Spencer Dupuis, your final word.
Final word for me today is, if you're the Royals, you should not have lost yesterday's game. I think that was embarrassing to lose that game. And by all accounts, a great season for Maikel Garcia this year. You can't get picked off second base like he did. I just happened to tune back in at that point. It was like literally 30 seconds before it happened, and I was like, he's getting a little too far. And then once they threw it, I knew he was out because he was out by like a mile.
Yeah.
And it just, hopefully they can continue to live and learn, and it'll be nice tonight tracking only one baseball game.
Yes, you got to be smart.
For the next 3 days.
Nice and easy for you these next few days. Final word for me is that I could not possibly care less that the Chiefs lost their preseason game against the Arizona Cardinals, but I did think we saw some positives. Josh Simmons was good. Robert Tonyan continues to play really well. Saw some positive things from a few of the rookies. Ashton Gelati in particular, I thought really had a good game. And honestly, a lot of the negatives were things that we already were kind of expecting. Up and down for Kingsley Suamataia. We knew that Felix Anudike-Uzama was going to have issues. Disappointed in Brashard Smith not doing a whole lot in the game, but hopefully preseason game 2 coming up on Friday against the Seahawks. See a little bit of an improvement from this team, build a little momentum going into the regular season. That'll do it for us today on 580 Sports Talk. Dan is back leading things off tomorrow. Michael Swain and Mitch Holthus will join us. Busy show tomorrow from 3 until 6. Until then, for Spencer, I'm Brendan. This has been 580 Sports Talk on the Sports Voice of Kansas, 580 WIBW.